ESPN Sunday Night Baseball for more than a decade. Your home for the Major League Baseball game of the week.
Okay, everybody, let's have some fun.
Since 1997, St. Louis has been alive with the sound of his bat.
Home run, McGuire. Pardon me while I stand up and applaud.
He has turned St. Louis into Big Mac country, thrilling fans with his awesome display of power. But lately, the Cardinals' big bat has been missing. They've had to find other means to stay on top. This season, the contributions have come from several places. An unknown rookie.
Welcome to St. Louis, Albert Pujols.
A resurgent prodigy.
This guy is on fire.
A revitalized slugger.
This ball is going to get way out of here.
This group has stayed close in a hotly contested National League Central. And now that familiar sound is back. Big Mac is back. And the Cards are that much more intimidating. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. Tonight we're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The tarp is off the field. We're ready to play ball. It's the Cincinnati Reds and the St. Louis Cardinals, the third of a four-game series. And here in St. Louis, they love Big Mac. But lately, they love Albert Pujols. McGuire and Pujols in the lineup together. Pujols, the great young sensation. McGuire, the all-time single-season home run record holder. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller, along with Joe Morgan. We're expecting some big flies tonight. Even though Ken Griffey is not in the lineup, the Reds decimated with injuries. But the Cardinals, they got Big Mac back in the lineup, and they were doing pretty well without him.
And, John, they're going to do better with him in the lineup offensively. What McGuire does, not just that he hits home runs, but what he allows the players around him to do. If you hit in front of McGuire, you know you're going to get good pitches to hit. If you hit behind him, you know you're going to have people on base because they're going to walk him a lot. And I'm just amazed. He sits out most of the season. The first hanging breaking ball he sees on Monday, he hits out of the ballpark. But this is the guy that when he gets on a tear, there's no way to pitch him. So he's just a very difficult player to pitch to. But I also think that he's just going to make everything better here in St. Louis.
All right. Now, the Cardinals were doing well without him. They were getting a lot of production from veterans like Ray Lankford and Jim Edmonds. And the young J.D. Drew really has blossomed. He's got 19 home runs. And, of course, the 21-year-old Albert Pujols, 354 batting average, 51 runs batted in, just a third of the way into the season. He's been something else.
Well, Ted Williams drove in 145 runs as a rookie. Pujols is on a pace to drive in over 150 runs. He's on pace to do things no other rookie's ever done, except Mark McGuire hit 49 home runs as a rookie, so he's probably not going to pass that. But this guy has a great approach to hitting, and all the veterans on this ball club, they really love him. They love his work ethic. They say he is working hard to be the best.
All right. So the Cardinals have won one. The Reds have won one so far in this four-game series. We're going to take a real close-up look at Albert Pujols tonight, who has impressed the baseball world. And, of course, don't forget, the 70 home run man, Big Mac, is back.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Nextel, how business gets done. And in part by Budweiser. With a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer, this Bud's for you.
They've had a lot of rain here in St. Louis and some thunderstorms somewhere in the vicinity, although not right here. But they had the tarp on the field until just a few moments ago. Now, coming up tonight on Sunday Night Baseball, we'll take a look in our batter's notebook at Big Mac and Barry Bonds. We'll describe the keys to their swings, and we'll hear from the Cardinals hitting guru, Mike Easler. He's wearing a microphone for the game. And from the Dominican to Kansas City to rookie sensation, we'll tell the amazing story of Albert Pujols, including a chat with his college coach.
I don't think there's anything that Albert can't accomplish in baseball or that he sets his mind to.
Marty Kilgore, the head baseball coach at Maple Woods Community College. We'll hear more from him later on. And, of course, we'll see a lot of the sensation himself, Albert Pujols. Now the Nextel Cincinnati Reds batting order is turned in by manager Bob Boone. And he's a little bit short-handed with all of the injury problems. But Only Sean Casey among the lefties is in the lineup, and he's about as good as it gets in terms of lefty power.
Well, but you know what happens is there's so much pressure on Casey without Ken Griffey Jr. in the lineup, without Larkin. I mean, all the pressure falls on him and Dimitri Young to produce runs. So it's going to be very difficult for him to go out there and just say, I'm going to dominate this left-handed pitcher, because Matthews has been throwing well.
And Matthews has been real tough on left-handed hitters in particular. He started the year as a reliever, made the club last year as a reliever. And Tony La Russa told him that he was going to have to get a little tougher against left-handers, and he took that to heart, Joe, and he's been awfully tough against the lefties.
And here's his pitches. He throws a four-seam fastball, and then he throws a two-seamer. That's the sinker. And his slider, he just kind of pulls across it, and he has an excellent changeup. And that's more of a circle change there. But he's pitched 16 innings in his last 3 starts, so he's averaging almost 5+ innings a start. And Rob Bell, on the other hand, has only pitched 10 innings in his last 3 starts. And let's take a look at the defense. And Matheny behind the plate. Mike has won a Gold Glove. And Pujols, they tell me, is going to be a great third baseman if they can just keep him there. He's played 3 other positions, including first base, while McGuire was gone. But this guy is capable of doing just about everything defensively.
Mike Matheny, he's as close as you can get to Ivan Rodriguez in the National League. He's one of the best at throwing out possible base stealers. And here's Alex Ochoa, and a fastball is seen from our dead center camera in there for a called strike over the outside. 62 degrees is the official game time temperature at Busch Stadium. Big crowd gathering. And the slider down and in. Matthews is one of those guys, Joe, that they bring him in to face lefties as a reliever, but often a right-handed pinch hitter would come up instead, and he was doing well against those right-handers. That slider misses, but not always so well against the lefties.
Well, I think that's part of the problem, John. You think so hard about the fact that you're pitching to so many right-handers, so you develop a way to get the right-handers out, and you just kind of forget about how to pitch left-handers.
2-1 the count. And he had not given up any hits at all to a left-handed hitter this year until his previous start against the Milwaukee Brewers.
He had gone like 35 at bats without a base hit from a left-handed hitter.
2-2 the count. And Vigna throws out Ochoa. There is one away. Looks like the infield is going to be real slow.
Well, Vigna kind of waited for that ball, which is dangerous under any circumstances, because the more bounces you give it, more chance of it taking a bad hop.
Here now is Jason LaRue. And you have to give Bob Boone credit. See, I'm already giving him credit, Joe. I mean, they have all kinds of physical problems, and LaRue fouls one off, missing a lot of their weapons, but he put in a lineup today that actually, as a group, has done real well against left-handers. LaRue is hitting .409 against the lefties. Ochoa was hitting .429 against lefties.
Well, if you have a group of right-handed hitters who hit left-handers well, look for them to use the middle of the diamond from left center to right center, and that's how you're successful against left-handed pitchers, because their ball naturally tails away from a right-handed hitter. So if you try to pull it, you're in trouble. So if you stay right center, left center, you're usually going to work out pretty well.
The Reds have just not faced many lefties this year. This is only the 11th game in which a left-hander has started. Mike Matheny wearing mask cam, putting us right down in the action. As that one misses down and in. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So our appreciation to Mike Matheny for bringing you right down on the field. One ball, 2 strikes again from Mascan, moving to the inside and over the middle, but caught by Fernando Vigna.
That was a nice play by Vigna, in that the ball was curving back, and he had to time his leap perfectly, because this ball is not hit that hard. Now see, he goes back, but you're off balance. When anything's directly over your head, it's very difficult to start back and to jump. But a nice play there. He's got a pretty big glove too, John. for a second baseman.
No, you didn't use one that big?
Most second basemen don't use them that large.
Well, they usually have the
well,
small
he was a
glove.
shortstop originally, so.
But you had the small glove for the turn double play, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's the way Bill Mazeroski.
Yeah, most second basemen have a small glove.
Here's Dimitri Young. They used to say Mazeroski's glove was almost the same size as his hand.
Well, he didn't have a pocket in it. Didn't need one.
Dimitri Young, a switch hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike, although Young has had so few at-bats against the left-handers, and as we say, this is only the 11th game where a left-hander has started against Cincinnati. Dimitri is not hitting well against lefties, only .222. 2 down, nobody on. And the count now 2 balls and a strike. Now Matthews moved into the rotation. He was off to a great start out of the bullpen when Rick Ankiel was removed from the rotation. Broken bat and a foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. If he can get aboard, Sean Casey would get a chance. The Reds have gone basically the whole year without Ken Griffey Jr. Barry Larkin is on the disabled list right now. Aaron Boone, the third baseman, is on the disabled list. Now that's pretty tough when your center fielder, your shortstop, and your third baseman are all missing at the same time.
And not only that, they're pretty good offensive players as well. I mean, Aaron Boone's a good offensive player, Barry Larkin, and of course we all know how dominant Ken Griffey Jr. is. So you're at a real disadvantage when you have those 3 players out.
And a foul ball. He went down and chased the ball. It might have hit the dirt had he not first hit it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A good slider there from Matthews, who also throws a changeup. Got a pretty good fastball. Mike Matthews.
John, you mentioned Dimitri Young and them not facing many left-handers. There's not that many left-handed starters in their division. Only Matthews and Jimmy Anderson. I mean, there are not a lot of left-handed starters in the Central Division.
Jimmy Anderson with Pittsburgh been in the rotation all year. Of course, the Cardinals had Ankiel. Now Matthews replaced him. And that's it.
Yeah.
For starters in the whole division out of 6 teams.
If you're a guy like Ken Griffey Jr., left-hander, you have to love that, actually. To think that you face basically all right-handed pitchers. I actually think a good left-handed hitter needs to face a left-handed pitcher every once in a while, just so he keeps his mechanics in order. Because a lot of times you get real comfortable facing right-handers and you start jerking off well off the pitch, trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And, and you need that.
And Dimitri Young continues to battle it out here with Mike Matthews 3-2. Well, how about a switch hitter never facing a left?
Right. See, I think you need to every once in a while. I mean, it's not something if you're a left-handed hitter you want to do every day, but you'd like to face 3 right-handers and then a left-hander, 3 right-handers and a left-hander, because that allows you to be aggressive against the right-handers, but allows you to work on your fundamentals against the left-handed pitcher and hit back through the middle.
Speaking of which, back through the middle for Dimitri Young and a base hit on the 9th pitch of the at-bat here. Quite a battle between Young and Matthews, and Young keeps the inning going.
And you mentioned the 3 guys hitting well against left-handed pitching. All 3 of these hitters have hit the ball either back through the middle or to the right side, because they know that that's what they have to do to stay on the ball. You don't want the ball. See, that ball's tailing away from him, and if he tries to pull it, he's going to hit a little weak ground ball. So he just goes right back through the middle, and you can see almost guiding it through the middle. Nice try there by Renteria to cut it off, but the ball was hit too hard.
Now Sean Casey. He is the only left-handed hitter in the batting order for Cincinnati. Called strike on the outside with a good fastball. Casey, mighty Casey, is hitting .325 against the lefties. It's pretty good considering how few he's faced. And pretty good if he faced a lot of them. It's just pretty good no matter how you look at it.
325 is pretty good.
Sean Casey, dangerous hitter. Oh, man, right there again. 0-2 the count.
2 nice pitches there by Matthews right over the outside edge with a breaking ball, and then he just finds the outside part of the plate with a fastball.
The Reds, without Griffey, have not been hitting many homers. 54 games, they've only hit 41 homers. Casey has 7 of them, 16 doubles. And I suppose Griffey being out of there maybe has hurt Casey's power production.
Well, I think it hurts everyone's power production, because when you watch Griffey, you want to emulate him to a certain extent.
Knocked down, and Young will hold it first. Great play there by Mike Matheny. I didn't see how he was going to be able to keep Young at first base, but he found a way.
Here's from Mascam. That ball bounces way out in front of the plate. Tells you it was a changeup. And he gets his body in front of it, which you're supposed to do. He wasn't so much trying to catch it as he was trying to block it.
1-2 to Casey. Young at first, 2 down. High in the air along the left field line. Langford. Yeah, the fan let him catch it. The hometown crowd said, "It's yours, Ray. You called it." Well done by Langford and the hometown crowd. The Cardinals coming up. McGuire due third. Sunday Night Baseball. Reds nothing. Cardinals coming up on a cool, cloudy, wet evening in St. Louis. The big crowd still gathering here despite the elements. Here's the Nextel starting lineup for the Cardinals. Mark McGuire hitting third in the order. And Red starting pitcher Rob Bell talked to us about facing Big Mac and company.
A guy like Bonds, McGuire, Sosa steps in, you realize what's going on. You realize the player you're facing, and the fans are on their feet, and the flash bulbs are going off. And these are guys that I idolize and guys that I still look at when I'm stretching. I'm like, that's Mark McGuire, that's Barry Bonds, or that's Jim Edmonds, or, you know, I mean, there's obviously I'm still a young guy trying to figure my way out around here, but I'm definitely, I have a huge amount of respect for those guys, and they all has to go away, though, pretty quickly when they step in the batter's box, though.
I'm glad he added that.
Yeah, right. That's pretty good understanding of the situation. He knows that these are great hitters, and he's just going to have to match up well against them. It's okay to give them their respect, but don't be in awe of them. Well, he'll try to attack them with a four-seam fastball. That's the riding fastball. The two-seamer, a sinker. Has a great overhand curveball and a changeup. So if his curveball is working, I think that's the key pitch for him, because it forces the hitters to have to look for it.
Here's Fernando Vina, and that's a ball. Now, Vina, I think, Joe, is underappreciated.
Very much so.
And he gets overshadowed.
But not by his teammates.
Now, in the old days in St. Louis, when it was all running and the speed game without much power, he would have fit right in.
With Willie McGee and his group, Vince Coleman and all of them, he would have fit perfectly.
The Wizard?
Yeah, the Wizard.
Vina, in that mold, 299 average. A homer, 17 batted in. His game is getting on base somehow. Anyway, he's been hit 11 times. And he has scored 13 runs in the first innings of games. And how valuable is that?
Very important to get off to a good start.
Only one player in the majors has scored more runs in the first inning of games than that. That's Alex Rodriguez.
And he's done himself in a lot of times.
Yeah, how many of those were just him hitting the big fly? McGuire will be coming up third. J.D. Drew after Vina. Mac played his first game coming from the disabled list just this past Monday. No score, 3-1 to count to Fernando Vina. Just a bit low on the outside, so Vina gets it done. He is aboard to start things off.
Well, John, you talked about all the injuries the Reds have experienced. Well, their defense kind of reflects that. You know, Dimitri Young has played a little bit third base, but Pokey Reese is playing shortstop in place of Barry Larkin. And when you have to put Dimitri Young at third base, you know that something's going on. He's an outfielder by trade, but Pokey Reese was a shortstop in the minor leagues. He was heir apparent to Barry Larkin, but Barry stayed a long time, so they end up moving him to second base.
J.D. Drew. A lot of talk in St. Louis about the maturity of J.D. Drew as being the key ingredient to his great early success. He's hitting for average. He's hitting for power. He's playing very well in the outfield. He can steal bases, getting a lot of walks. He's doing it all.
And they've given a lot of the credit for J.D. Drew's maturity to Will Clark. They said when Will Clark was here last year, he took it upon himself to point out the mistakes that Drew was making during the game and on and off the field, and it seemed to work well for him, and Drew appreciates it.
To the outside and the count. is 0-2 to J.D. Drew, hitting in the number 2 spot in the order. He is not hit there very often, but McGuire hitting behind him. They like Tony La Russa likes Drew in that number 2 spot. McGuire up next, and Edmonds hitting cleanup. Drew quickly in a hole here. 0-2 the count to Rob Bell. Get back to the bat.
Well, La Russa said, you know, that Drew was doing a great job hitting third, but he says he wants to make sure that McGuire has a chance to hit in the first inning. So in doing that, he moved Drew up to number 2, and he says he'll probably leave him there.
Just got a piece of it to stay alive.
He'll leave him there even when McGuire's not in the lineup, because Paquette hit third yesterday, and so I think that maybe you're going to see J.D. Drew hitting this spot for a long time. And he's very capable of hitting second in that he can pull the ball with Vigna at first base. He can hit the hole on the right side, get runners at first and third. He can also take a few pitches and allow Vigna to try to steal bases. So he can work well in this spot.
And the changeup struck him out. So 1 away. Vigna still at first, and here comes Mark McGuire.
Interesting conversation with Mark today, which we'll relay part of it later on about hitting and his approach to hitting. And I tell you what, he thinks he's a thinking man's hitter. He really is.
McGuire has not homered since that re-entry to the active list last Monday. And as Rob Bell told us in that soundbite that we played when we looked at the lineup, as he threw that pitch to McGuire, flash bulbs went off all around Busch Stadium. Mark McGuire, now 37 years old, 44 homers away from 600, which looked like a fait accompli that it would happen this year. But the injury put him on the shelf. Throw to first, and Vigna is back to the bag ahead of Casey's tag.
And it's not just the time that you missed with the injury, as McGuire missed, but his timing is off. And it's going to take him a long time to get back on track. But he can't take extra hitting because it puts extra pressure on his knee. And so he's just going to have to do it in game-type action.
2-0 the count. Strike on the outside. And you see Bell got a real live fastball, 94 miles per hour. 2-1 to McGuire. Tony La Russa says this is like for McGuire 2 weeks into spring training or thereabout. He's not been playing every day, basically every other day.
But normally in spring training, if you're struggling a little bit, you can take extra hitting, or you can do some things to get your timing back. But again, he can't take a lot of extra hitting because he's afraid that it'll hurt his knee again, and he'll be back on the disabled list.
2-1 the count. 1 out, Vigna at first, no score. To center field deep. Going way back there is Rivera. He's under it on the warning track, and he makes the catch.
And right there you can see why McGuire hit so many home runs. He was way ahead of this ball, but his extension, he just extended the bat a little bit longer, and he was able to drive it almost out of the ballpark. Now watch, this is not a McGuire swing. See how he extends to get to it? But watch this swing. Watch this. See, that's how he extends, tries to keep it level for a longer period of time. That's not his normal swing, but he almost hit it out anyway.
Ah, get it. Go, 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 go. Ah. Got that.
Well, he certainly pulls for his hitters, doesn't he?
Mike Easler,
the hit man.
The hit man. He's the hitting instructor for the Cardinals. Jim Edmonds with Vigna running. And he'll make it as the ball flew out of the hand of Jason LaRue as he came up ready to throw. Vigna's 8th steal of the year.
And you see what he did there. He stayed at first base, allowed Drew to get a base hit through that hole. He didn't take advantage of it. He didn't want to run when McGuire was up there. So what does he do? He just takes off on the first pitch here with Edmonds up. Now he gets himself in the scoring position.
Gives Edmonds a chance to pick up an RBI with a single. And Edmonds would like to get a single right now. He's had a hard time getting any kind of a hit lately.
Only 7 hits in his last 57 at-bats.
And he struck out 38 times. I mean, his strikeouts are what really kind of jumps out at you.
Struck out 48 times.
Yeah, but I mean in those 57, I think.
And he struck out 38 times out of 57?
I think that's what I saw. There's some place. Let me find my notes here. You know I am about statistics. One of my notes said 38 times. Let me find it.
Well, he struck out 48 times in 164 at-bats the whole year.
He's hitting like 4+ when he was making contact.
Down the left field line of ways and back in amongst the spectators.
But John, this also tells you how fragile a hitter's mental state is. Here's a guy that hits 350, he's hitting 360, yet when he starts to struggle a little bit, they say the first thing that goes with Jim Edmonds is his confidence. He starts to wonder, can he hit, or is he as good a hitter as he thinks he is? And I mean, that's amazing. I mean, when you've had such great numbers like he had last year and even at the beginning of this year, that when you go into a slump that you start to wonder.
3 weeks ago, he was hitting 380. Strike 3 called. The slider got him, and the inning is over. So Vina stranded there. Bell does a nice job. No score after 1. Regulation. Coverage begins with Quest for the Cup, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. It's hockey, old-time hockey on ABC tomorrow. Mike Matthews throwing a called strike to Ruben Rivera. Rivera came up with the Yankees originally, then over to San Diego, but he just never blossomed. He has done much better early on as a Cincinnati Red. A foul out of play off to the right, so he's quickly behind in the count, 0-2. Rivera is hitting 286 against the left-handers. He was one of those guys, Joe, everybody wanted.
Yeah.
Right? He got a great arm, great speed, great power, excellent in the outfield. He got all the tools, but he has never been able to put it all together. That one into left center. Going back for it is Langford. He's there. One away.
Well, he's definitely a guy that has a lot of potential, but he has just not been able to realize that potential. And maybe, you know what, if you move a guy around like him, and one of these days you'll find the right hitting instructor or someone that's just able to bring out all the great qualities that he has as a hitter. Or maybe he'll put all the things that he's learned from several hitting instructors together, and then next thing you know, he'll be a star.
Well, when is that?
But he has the ability, so that's the main thing.
And a called strike to Pokey Reese. Ruben Rivera is now 27 years old. I mean, when you get to be 27, it's a little different than when you're true 20, 21, and every team in baseball wants.
Well, they look at you differently, and in fact, they start to wonder if you are ever going to reach your potential.
I mean, and San Diego gave him a lot of opportunity.
Correct.
It wasn't just, you know, a couple of months. They gave him full seasons there. Ball to strike to Pokey. Look out, that hard slider snapped in and almost hit him. 2-1. You know, yesterday I was talking with Barry Bonds. I was in Denver. Bonds is so hot right now.
Who's not talking about Barry Bonds?
No, I was talking to Barry Bonds. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking to him. Okay.
I was talking to him. Yeah. And because, you know, he's hot now, so I wanted to be seen with him. Trying to bask in the reflected glory.
Right.
I told him I was going to be here tonight.
Right.
And I said, you know, the thing is with the Reds, I mean, all the big guys are hurt. And then he listed like 5 guys that weren't hurt that he has great respect for. I mean, he said, well, Sean Casey, he's hurt. I said, no, he's playing. And he said, Pokey Reese? I said, yeah, he's playing. And he went on down the list. And
So he said they don't have any excuses then, huh?
I mean, Barry not only is a great player, but he's sort of a connoisseur of talent.
He has always had a good understanding for the traditions of the game as well.
Deep left center, Jim Edmonds. No problem for Edmonds. I'm a little disappointed that was so easy for him, Joe. 2 down, and the batter will be Donnie Sadler. I'm John Miller. This is Joe Morgan, Hall of Famer. 23 years. Was it 23 years in the big leagues?
I don't know, John. I really don't. It was 20 plus. Let's put it that way. It was 20 plus years. Yeah.
I thought it was 23 years. That's a
well,
long
you
time.
may be correct.
So you want to deny that now?
But no, there were parts of seasons, and I don't know how they count those.
Joe just retired
I had 20
ago.
full seasons, I know, maybe 21. Full seasons.
Yeah, maybe 23.
Yeah.
Here's Donnie Sadler, and he takes a called strike. It is 0-1.
Hey, John, it went so quickly that it just seems like yesterday anyway.
Well, I mean, the way you talked about it, it almost was just yesterday. Yeah, when I retired just a month ago, 0-1 the count to Sadler. From mass cam being worn by Mike Matheny. You know, it's a funny thing with that mass cam. Joe just likes that look. It's really weird when you get on a plane with Joe. He wears that on the plane. To second base, Fernando Vina. And that's the inning. 3 up, 3 down for Matthews, and we'll get a look at Albert Pujols. He'll be leading it off. Monday on Sunday Night Baseball Interleague Interlude, round 1, 8 o'clock Eastern. The Atlanta Braves at Yankee Stadium. It could be Messina and Maddox. The Braves and the Yankees, the two teams of the 90s, head-to-head next Sunday.
Nuestros partidos de béisbol están disponibles en español a través de ESPN Deportes. Llame a su operador de cable local o DirecTV. Para más información, conéctese a espndeportes.com.
And they were trying to tell you that all Sunday night telecasts are available in Spanish on ESPN Deportes. That's Candido Maldonado on the left, and Ernesto Jerez, the play-by-play man, whose voice you just heard. And Roberto Clemente Jr., also part of the ESPN Deportes crew tonight, and he'll be part of our crew coming up as we look at Albert Pujols here, fouling one right back toward our booth. And the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Albert Pujols, 21 years of age, started last year in A ball. And look at this, he's 3rd in the league in hitting. He's got 16 homers. He's got 51 RBIs. To left field, but right there, Dimitri Young, and there is 1 away.
Well, he got jammed on this pitch a little bit. Normally, he really is aggressive on inside pitches. But this one jams, and watch where the pitch is. Stays on the inside corner, and he doesn't quite get to it. But he really attacks the ball, and that one was, I think he got fooled a little bit. He must have been looking for something out over the plate, and it didn't quite get to it.
So Pujols is gone. Here is Ray Langford. It's impossible not to like Albert Pujols.
Right.
And he loves the game, and he just constantly talks about wanting to improve himself.
And that's what impresses me, John. I had a conversation with him today.
Langford just thrown out there by Sadler, 2 down.
But I talked to him today, and also I was sitting there with a couple of veteran players I was talking to, Bobby Bonilla and Fernando Vina, and they were just telling me how intense this guy is and how hard he works, and that he has such a great work ethic that they think he's going to be, I mean, just he's going to get better. If you can fathom that, he's going to get better.
Here is Edgar Renteria, 232 average. He's been struggling with the bat, although La Russa says he's coming out of it now. Fastball misses from Rob Bell. No score in the game, last of the 2nd. Albert Pujols, I mean, is a great story from a human interest standpoint. His family in the Dominican Republic, when he was about 15.5 years old, they moved to the U.S. His dad looking for better opportunities to support his family. They went to New York for a couple of months and then ended up relocating near Independence, Missouri. Right out to center field, and there is Rivera, and that ends the inning. 3 up, 3 down, a 7-pitch inning for Rob Bell. We'll have more on Albert Pujols with Roberto Clemente Jr. when we come back. We go to the 3rd, no score.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Nextel, is brought to you by Fidelity Investments. We can help you see yourself succeeding. And by Holiday Inn, who gives you more, and more is better.
Sunday Night Baseball from St. Louis. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. No score, top of the 3rd inning. The Reds coming up against Mike Matthews. A wet, cool night here. Although cool in St. Louis is a relative term. 62 degrees was the game time temperature.
I didn't realize that it was still raining as hard as it is. thought they had the umbrellas up, you know, just to show.
No, it's raining, Joe.
Yeah.
When you've been in broadcasting as long as I have, when you see the umbrellas go up, even if you don't see the rain, you know it's raining.
Okay.
Yeah. See, now you notice things.
You're a journalist. You check into those things.
You notice things with hitters and where their stance.
Well, I'm just watching the hitters, and they seem to be able to see the ball okay.
I read umbrellas.
You know what? One thing we should worry about, though, if it continues to rain, is how the outfield will play later.
I asked Jim Edmonds about that before the game. As Juan Castro hits a liner to left, but there is Ray Langford. And there is one away. Well, we've been talking about Albert Pujols, the young sensation of the Cardinals. And part of our ESPN Deportes crew here to talk a little bit more about Albert is Roberto Clemente Jr. Roberto.
Well, John, talking about Albert Pujols, this kid is unbelievable. His approach of the game is incredible. Actually, they call him the hitting machine. Now, this kid comes to the ballpark every day, and he's thinking, well, this might be my last game here because they might send me down. But this kid wants to improve so much that you can imagine what kind of a year he's going to have if he keeps on improving.
Well, and you have to love that attitude.
Well, I was amazed when Roberto told me that story that he's worried about being sent down. He thought at middle of the season, you know, when McGuire came back, and here's a guy that's leading the Cardinals and everything. I mean, but that's great. That's a great attitude to have. Never be comfortable in the big leagues because there's always someone that wants to take your job.
Rob Bell, the hitter, against Mike Matthews, popping a foul back out of play in the rain. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Bell. Well, Albert Pujols went to spring training having told his college coach that he intended to make the ball club. Although Tony La Russa, his manager, was actually one of the last guys to come around. La Russa said that Pujols had done everything to show that he belonged here during the spring as Bell looks at strike 3 called from Matthews, and that is the second out. But La Russa said that he had done everything a guy could possibly do to make the club. He said no matter where they put him at shortstop one day, left field another day, first base, third base. Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, was actually kidded La Russa at one point, saying, you're trying to have this guy get in a situation where he shows badly, aren't you? And La Russa just said, hey, well, the worst thing that could happen to the young guy is he makes the club and he doesn't play.
Right.
I'd rather have him in AAA ball playing every day than here and not playing. But late in the spring, Bobby Bonilla, the veteran, got hurt and went on the disabled list. And that opened up the opportunity for Pujols. And, of course, just a few days into the season, McGuire went down. And Pujols has been in there ever since. He got, I guess you could say, a break to be in the ball club. Then he definitely took advantage of it. 1-1 to Alex Ochoa. That is a fair ball right past the bag. And interfered with by a fan on a phone. Somebody will have to call him in a moment after they remove him from the ballpark. So it's a double for Ochoa. And that could well have been a single, Joe, had the fan not interfered with it. Marty Kilgore was Albert Pujols' coach at Maple Woods Community College. We talked to him yesterday, and he told us Albert was different from all of his teammates.
Albert was very mature. He didn't run around with a lot of the kids. He hung around with the coaches on the road trips. He would stay in our hotel rooms with us, sat right behind us on the bus, always talking about baseball, asking a lot of questions. He always smiled every time you seen him. I couldn't say hi, Albert, without smiling every day. It was just great to see him down here. On and off the field, he was just a pleasure to be around. He made me a better person, a better man.
Well, that's high praise from Marty Kilgore.
But everyone talks of him in that manner, that he's very mature for his age and he's just a good person.
Slider to Jason LaRue. 2-0 the count as he faces Matthews. It's getting wetter and wetter here at Busch Stadium. You see Pujols got off to an incredible start, 370 in his first month of the big leagues. And he didn't tail off a whole lot. The only reason you wouldn't say May was incredible was just by comparison to April. And that's too low. 3-0 the count. Dimitri Young is on deck.
I said to him in the clubhouse, I said, you know, you remind me of a young Tony Perez. He said, thank you very much. And Bobby Bonilla was sitting there, and Bobby said, you know what, you're right. He does remind me of Tony Perez as well. He means personality is wise as well as his approach to hitting.
Fastball for a strike, 3-1 to LaRue.
And it has to be difficult, you know, you're talking about it getting wetter out there for the pitcher. I think that's the ones that's affected the most, you know, gripping the ball and just keeping your concentration when the rain drops are pelting you.
There's a runner in scoring position. Ochoa at second. Matthews checks him. 3-2. And Ochoa was bluffing away from second base. Running the bases is a big part of the Reds' game. They don't have much power without Griffey in here. They have stolen 50 bases this year in their first 54 games. And Ochoa has stolen 11 of those. He leads the club. Second in the league for base stealing. Now 3-2 to LaRue. It's a muddy track out there now on the infield on which Ochoa is running. And a walk. A slider on 3-2. So now you're going to have to face Dimitri Young. Well, you were talking about Tony Perez, your old teammate on the Big Red Machine, Joe.
Well, there's Tony Perez, like Pujols, they attacked the baseball. They didn't just swing hard, but they were trying to destroy the ball. As you see right there, that's the one that Bill Lee wished he had back. That slow curveball he hit over the fence and everything else in Fenway Park. But, I mean, they both attack the ball. It's not like they're just trying to hit a line drive someplace. They're really trying to destroy the baseball. And my buddy Tony now is a manager.
He's the
skipper.
Marlins.
Yeah.
And he changed his mind. He
was an interim, and now he says he wants to go to the remainder of the year, huh?
That's a foul. At first he said, oh, I have too many commitments to manage the rest of the year. And then after a few days of it, all of a sudden he said, I changed my mind. I'm into it now.
Well, he's got a lot of good young players there, and I read a couple of quotes from some of the players. They said he's great because he can tell them, you know, a little bit more about what's expected and explain to them how to get the most out of their ability. And I think that's one thing that veteran players bring in a guy like Tony who has been a player. And I think it may not be fair or whatever, but I think we're leaning towards having more former players as managers than before, simply because the players today, they want to know what's on your resume. They want to know how can you tell me how to hit in the major leagues if you didn't hit here? And that's unfortunate.
You mean Tony La Russa would have a hard time starting out as a manager if you were starting today?
Yes, I believe that, because I think that the guys nowadays, they have to have somebody that they can look up to, and that's unfortunate. But I think that's the way it is.
Because he was
a star, yeah.
I mean, Earl Weaver wouldn't even get considered then.
And Sparky Anderson probably not. And that, I mean, I'm not saying that that's right. I'm just telling you that that seems to be the way things are going, because a lot of players are questioning managers and their abilities and so forth and so on.
1 ball, 1 strike to Dimitri Young. He hit a single his first time after a long battle with Matthews. The 9th pitch of the at-bat is the one he hit for the single. The single here could mean a run. Ochoa at second as Matthews bluffed him back to the bag. And now Matthews is knocking some of the mud out of his spikes. It's not a heavy rain, but it's been a steady rain for a little while. 2 on, 2 out. No score, 3rd inning. The Reds with their 3rd place hitter, Dimitri Young, at the plate. Ochoa and LaRue the runners. And suddenly, under the wet, muddy conditions, we see Matthews not as sharp as he had been.
And I think it's because of the mound, and there has to be a little fear in your mind that you're going to slip out there, so you're not really committed completely to your release point on every single pitch.
2-1. Well, you got him chasing a real nasty, sharp breaking slider down and in.
Well, this is one pitch that you get Dimitri Young will chase on occasion. That ball down and in. And we saw it in this first at bat before he singled. He chased one down and in and just barely got a piece of it.
And a fastball over the inside. So he followed up that slider on the inside with a fastball and got him looking. 2 men left. No score after 2.5. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Big Mac's house. McGuire in the lineup tonight. He flied out deep to center his first time. Right now the Cardinals batting in the third against Rob Bell of Cincinnati, with Mike Matheny, the 8th place hitter, and Matthews the pitcher, and leadoff man Fernando Vina to follow. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan, your Sunday night telecasters. Rob Bell trying to keep his job maybe right here. Bell has made 6 starts this year for the Reds, and the Reds have not won any of them. His personal record 0-3. Pete Harnish, the veteran right-hander, appears just about ready to return to the rotation, so Bell needs a strong one. Up and away, ball 3. Matheny 203 average.
John, looking through the notes Peter Pasquarelli gave me, it said a month ago the Reds were in first place, and then they went 6-22.
6-22 in May. And that's ball 4 to Matheny. Well, we've been talking about the great rookie of the Cardinals, Albert Pujols, and let's go down to our colleague Roberto Clemente Jr.
Well, John, I'm here with Deidre Pujols, his Albert's wife for 3.5 years. They have actually Albert Jr., Deidre, and you have Isabella, that I understand she has the Down syndrome. How is Albert with your daughter?
Oh, he's perfect. He's just, you know, he takes the role of the father since I met him, and the Down syndrome doesn't even really come into play because we live with her every day. So he does everything, you know, just like a father does.
Now he is he's the MVP at the house, but he's going to probably become the Rookie of the Year. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm very excited for him. Our family's so blessed, you know, that all these things that have been coming to our life so quickly, you know, for somebody so young and for a family so young and for the whole family to be able to adjust, you know. But a word like that is the biggest blessing. I mean, so many good things are happening to him right now, and I would be so proud of him, just like everybody else.
Well, Deidre, thank you very much. John, back to you.
All right, thank you, Roberto Clemente Jr., part of our ESPN Deportes crew, with Didi Pujols, the wife of Albert Pujols. And Joe, let's take a look at this bunt here by Mike Matthews.
Well, there's a good job by Rob Bell. He gets off, he fires to Pokey Reese. Pokey doesn't even look at first base. He knows he's got a chance for a double play, but no one's covering. Casey is standing in between home and first, and no one was covering.
Well, who should have been covering?
Yes.
Fernando.
Well, actually, it's the job of the first baseman to get back. Once the ball is bunted directly back to the pitcher, he should be trying to get back to first base. If he can't make it, then you don't throw. And technically, you shouldn't throw anyway if there's no one at the bag.
That's the first time I've seen a throw from second base to a first baseman who wasn't there since we were in Cuba a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Ruben Rivera in center field, and Vina is retired for out number 2.
Well, let's take another look at it and watch. You'll see now, to watch Casey, he's going to charge down the line, which is the proper thing to do in a bunt situation. But now as the ball's going back, he kind of stops. See, he stands in there and he's looking. He should be getting back. But again, Pokey Reese should never throw to first base if no one is standing there. And Casey just got caught in between, but if you're not, it doesn't do any good to just stand there, and of course Pokey shouldn't have made the throw.
All right, so Donnie Sadler, that was not his job to get over there?
No.
2 down. Here's J.D. Drew. Get into the power of the Cardinals here. And it's right to Donnie Sadler. So no real catastrophic harm on that play on the breakdown by the Reds. Rob Bell looking strong. No score. Sean Casey coming up. Night baseball from St. Louis. The Cardinals trying to gain ground on the Chicago Cubs, who finally had their winning streak ended today over in Milwaukee. 0-0 as the Reds come up here with Sean Casey and then Ruben Rivera and Pokey Reese. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Be sure and pick up your Pepsi 2001 All-Star ballot at participating Kroger locations or your favorite grocery store and vote today. Major League Baseball, connect with it. Sean Casey, the cleanup hitter for the Reds, fouled out to the left fielder his first time. And a good slider from Matthews swung on and missed. 0-1 the count. Well, Sean Casey grew up in Pittsburgh, and he used to love to watch guys like Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonilla when they were both with the Pirates, and Andy Van Slyke, all left-handed hitters. Bonilla, a switch hitter who would bat left-handed most of the time. And he had his dad get him seats on the third base side so he could get a real good look at those left-handed sluggers. He really studied it and wanted to see what it was exactly that they were doing, what their approach was. Next ball away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. You can imagine what a thrill it was for Casey, who comes from the Pittsburgh area, to help open the new ballpark, the beautiful new PNC Park there, and he was the one who hit the first home run at the new Pittsburgh ballpark. Slider in the dirt outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes now to Sean Casey.
That would be like you hitting the first home run in Packville or Candlestick Park, right? Growing up there in the Bay Area, or me for that matter, growing up in the Bay Area and getting a chance to play there in your home in that park.
More like you, man.
You told me that you were an all-star. You made the all-star team once, I know.
Well, for Bob Bird Insurance.
Right.
big Bob Bird machine, we should call it. 2-2 the count to Casey. And here's that home run opening day at PNC Park. Out toward the Allegheny. That bridge, by the way, in the background that you saw, that's the Roberto Clemente Bridge. 2-2 to Sean Casey. Chasing Matthews. Base hit just out of the reach of Albert Pujols.
That's one of the reasons that Sean Casey's such a good hitter, because you stay in longer against the left-hander to make sure it's not a curveball, and then you can fight it off the other way. If he tries to pull that ball, he gets jammed. But he gets the inside out this ball to left field. If you try to pull this pitch, you get jammed. But he just fires it the other way. Watch his approach. See how he stays back and just the bat angle right there, just lines it to left field. And you can see that Pujols was way off the line, and he still got it by.
I mean, that was interesting because I remember the first time I had a chance to see Sean Casey when he first came up with the Reds. Jack McKeon was the manager. As the foul hit by Ruben Rivera, 0-1 the count. I asked him for a little description of Sean Casey, and he said reminded him a lot of a young Tony Gwynn, a guy who used the whole field from one foul line to the other. He said the difference was Casey had more power. He predicted that Casey would win a batting title like Gwynn, but also be a steady 25 to 30 home run man at some point. Wow, that one fooled Matheny. Shot right past him. What happened? Wild pitches, the scoring on that one. Looked like it was there.
Well, you can see that they were confused on the sign, apparently, because Matheny's going to go out and talk to him. Well, it looks like, I'm not so sure, because anytime you set up inside like that, you know it's going to be a fastball or something hard, a fastball or slider. And he just was late on that.
Well, he did go out to talk to Matthews. You see the rain falling in St. Louis. Runner at second, nobody out. There's a slider. 2 balls and a strike now to Ruben Rivera, who flied out to left center his first time. Pokey Reese is on deck.
John, to take that Sean Casey story one step further, one of the reasons that he started hitting more power is because they all pitched him inside, and he learned to turn on the ball, and that's why he was able to hit more home runs.
3-1. It's not because he had a chat with Ted Williams?
Well, I'm sure Ted Williams influenced him as he does anyone that talks to Ted Williams.
I mean, that was the Tony Gwynn story, right?
Yeah, but the one reason they thought that he was going to hit more home runs, I'm speaking of Jack McKeon, is because they pitched him inside so much, and that was going to force him to turn on the ball, and he would hit more home runs.
Because Tony Gwynn would not do that on that inside pitch until he had a chat with Ted Williams one day. Ball 4 to Ruben Rivera. 2 men on, nobody out. Matthews in a little bit of a jam now as Pokey Reese comes up. No score in the 4th inning. But I mean, if you're Tony Gwynn, you sit and chat with guys like Ted Williams.
Yes. when you have the opportunity to do so, yes.
That was the great thing. I mean, Ted Williams is a huge fan of the game. Keeps tabs on all the young players. Reese shows bunt, takes the ball. The look over at third base coach, Ron Oster. What do you think? Is this a good play to bunt? I mean, Pokey Reese has been around a while. He's not been producing many runs, though.
Well, I think that's the problem. They have not been producing many runs as a team, and they feel like, you know, we just have to play for a run or two here. And I don't think it's a bad play because not only Pokey, if he bunts it properly down the third baseline, he also has a chance to get a base hit. But Bob Boone believes in the sacrifice, and that's Bob Boone's way of managing.
And you see the two runners, Casey at second, Rivera at first. Now, after showing bunt in those first two pitches, Reese went over and had a conversation with third base coach Ron Oster.
And I think Oster was telling him if he's going to still bunt. I don't know if they're bunting now. Sometimes you take it off. But he looked like he was getting ready to bunt the ball to first base instead of third base.
So you want to make that third baseman field the ball in a spot like this.
With runners at first and second, that's your job, to make the third baseman field it. With a runner at first base, you want to make the first baseman field it.
Matthews. And
well, John, he balked the first time he did that, and they didn't call it.
He's going over to talk to Mark Hirschbeck, the second base umpire, and now LaRusso is going to get in this discussion as well.
Well, but I don't think you can question a balk. I guess he's going to just ask for an explanation.
So you can say,
what did he do? Because I won't want him to do it again.
But you can't say, are you nuts? Right. No way he balked. Is that what you can't say?
Yeah,
something like that?
You're not supposed to. Well, you see that little hop there. He lost his balance, and he lost his balance the first time. And you can't do that. I mean, otherwise you just spin all the way around. But he lost his balance the first time when he did that.
2-0 the count. Runners at second and third. And he blew a fastball right by Pokey Reese. The Reds with a great opportunity here. Casey now at third base talking to Ron Oster. Rivera over at second base after the balk. Nobody out. The right side of the Cardinal infield has come in. The shortstop, Renteria, remains deep. So he's the one man in the infield still back. That one is hit down the left field line a long way. And that ball is gone. Pokey Reese goes deep. His third home run of the season. And it was not a cheap one. 3-0 Cincinnati.
I told you he shouldn't have been bunting. But isn't that something? If he doesn't balk, they may still have him bunt. But once he got runners into scoring position at second and third, they let him go ahead and swing away. So the balk may have cost him not only an out that he was willing to sacrifice, but a home run. He threw his fastball right down the middle. Watch where this is. It's belt high and in the middle of the plate. And a lot of major league hitters will make you pay if you make that type of mistake.
3-0 Cincinnati. And it's raining more heavily now. We're now down 3-0. Maybe Cardinal fans will be rooting for some heavy rain. It's not an official game. Donnie Sadler, the hitter, grounded to second his first time. You can see that it's reflected in the lights there. Pretty good downpour now falling at Busch Stadium. That would be the kind of luck the Reds. That would just be consistent with everything else that's happened to them this year, wouldn't it? Jump ahead with a nice lead, get an unexpected home run from a guy who doesn't usually hit him. Then it rains. That one, a ball inside. So Pokey Reese, his third home run in 152 at bats. Well, the real heavy rain is starting to fall now. And it's starting to look like a deluge here, and the umpires have called time. So at 8:14 p.m. Central Daylight Time, time has been called at Busch Stadium. The Cincinnati Reds leading 3-0 with nobody out. 3 runs in here in the 4th inning. Nobody on base, and a 2-ball 1-strike count to Donnie Sadler. And the grounds crew now very quickly beginning the process of covering up the field here, and they are very good at it, as you might expect. Home plate all covered up. Sunday Night Baseball. Let's go now to the studios as we're in a rain delay in St. Louis. Here is Bill Pito. The second walk of the inning allowed by Matthews. Tony La Russa with Dave Duncan right behind him. Duncan on the phone to the bullpen, checking on the status of Mike James, who is heating up. Juan Castro comes up. Castro, an outstanding glove man all over the infield, but has never hit well, except Friday night in this ballpark in the 9th inning. He hit a 3-run homer down the right field line. And back to the bag at first is Sadler. Sadler's got a lot of speed.
Well, he's very quick, and he gets a good start at first base. And out comes well, that's Dave Duncan coming out.
That's going to do it. James is ready, and they're going to go to him. So Matthews just throws a handful of pitches after the rain delay, and he's gone. 3-0 Cincinnati, and we'll be right back. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. Reds 3, Cardinals 0, top of the 4th. And there is Mike James, number 49, on from the St. Louis bullpen, making his 24th appearance of the year. So Mike Matthews, after waiting out a 44-minute rain delay and warming up on the mound out there for several minutes, just threw what 4 or 5 pitches and then called it a night.
Yeah, I was surprised that Tony sent him back out there, because he had started to struggle a little bit, and you could have sent, you know, Mike James out there to start, resume play anyway, but they let him continue the walk to Sadler.
And even then, Sadler, after getting to first base, Matthews made one pickoff throw over there, and it was a wild pickoff throw, or nearly. Once McGuire to come well off the bag to grab it. McGuire, a little bit bigger guy than Donnie Sadler. Well, Sadler may not want to hang around McGuire that long. I mean,
no.
You know, it makes him look bad, number one. If I were him, I'm right away heading for second. I'm going on the first pitch.
Well, he tries to make things happen, and I think that's the asset that he has. He brings to a ball club, is he tries to force the action, and he's quick enough to do so.
Juan Castro, the hitter. A called strike on the outside. James Gannett, crossfire action.
And a high leg kick also, John, so you shouldn't expect Sadler to stay there too much longer, because he does have a high leg kick.
The pitcher, Rob Bell, up next. There's Sadler. And again, the running game, that's a real part of the Reds' offense by necessity. The shortstop, Renteria, charges in on it. Get the one there, and then Vina gets taken out by Donnie Sadler.
And that's the quickness of Sadler. He gets to second base very quickly. And Vina was actually staying right at the bag. And he's not able to make the throw. Here's the ground. This is not your typical double play, easy double play routine. The throw is there. You see he's staying there, and as soon as he makes the catch, here comes Sadler. Right there. That's one of those situations when you know there's a speedy runner at first base. You actually have to go out this way to take the throw rather than go toward first base. But a good job by Sadler to keep Vina from making the double play.
Now Rob Bell and the pitch out with Vina breaking in behind the runner at first. Castro, even before the pitch was actually thrown, with McGuire racing in toward home plate.
And that's a good play, John, but normally it doesn't work as well with a pitch out as it does with, say, a breaking ball, where the batter looks like he's going to bunt at it, and then the catcher fires to first base with the second baseman sneaking behind the runner.
Castro, as soon as he saw that, got right back to the bag. Bell showing bunt and taking ball 2. That was a good play, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed it.
Well, it's a good play. I mean, and it works. A lot of times you can sneak behind him if you're the second baseman.
Third baseman, Albert Pujols, very shallow. As James needs to get one of the strike zone here. Bunted at and foul tipped into the glove of Matheny. 2 balls and a strike. They're going hard after Rob Bell here to try and get that lead runner. Bell struck out looking his first time tonight. He's 1 for 7 and has had 1 sacrifice bunt. 3-0. The Reds lead. And he fouls that one.
Well, he's had 2 pretty good pitches to bunt, and he hasn't been able to get it down yet.
I mean, if you're a pitcher especially, wouldn't you be so afraid when you square around, you move your hand right out on the bat like that, that you're going to get hit on the hand, your pitching hand with the ball?
Well, you have to really, grab the bat in a different way so that it doesn't. I mean, you grab the bat behind the bat with your pitching hand. You put your pitching hand behind the bat, not on top.
He's got his hand right out there in the meat part of the bat. Good job. Gets it down. McGuire's only play is to go after him. Pena covering at first. And over to second base goes Castro.
Well, here's his hand. See, his finger is out in front. And you're exactly right. Plus, it's up on top. Normally, you put it behind the bat. And you don't have your index finger sticking in front of the bat like that. A lot of different ways of bunting. A lot of guys don't take their hand and slide it all the way up the bat. They just slide it near the label.
But I mean, if you do that, and in the back of your mind you have a little bit of fear that you might get one of your fingers hit, you might not actually follow through on your bunt effort, right?
Well, you're always afraid that you might get hit.
Here's Alex Ochoa now. The dead center field camera. Castro at second base. Ochoa, the leadoff man, inside for ball 1.
Yeah, when you square around the bunt, you're in a very vulnerable position anyway, because it's very difficult to move out of the way if the ball's straight at you. That's why a lot of guys stride as they would if they're hitting and keeps their body sideways to the pitcher instead of squaring around completely and facing.
Alex Ochoa tried to deliver a run, slider outside. You know, I saw Campy Campaneris, who was an outstanding bunter. I mean, outstanding bunter for getting base hits.
Correct.
Late in his career when he was with Texas, in a suicide squeeze situation, he was asked to bunt, and the runner at third left too soon. And the pitcher threw the ball right at Campy, who was squared around and in that vulnerable situation, and he got hit in the hand and broke his hand.
Yeah, well, you can't get out of the way if you square around completely.
2-0 the count, and that is low. 3-0. Mike James in from the bullpen. He is pondering this next pitch. Looks like he's written something on his, and that's Rick Ankiel's number 66. So there's a little tribute from James to his fellow pitcher, Rick Ankiel. The count now 3-0 to 4-0 to Ochoa. And that's the maximum number allowed, so he gets to go to first base.
Well, they decided they weren't going to throw him a fastball, and even 3-0 they threw him a breaking ball.
So 2 men on, 3 runs already in, and here is LaRue. Now LaRue hitting number 2 in the order because a left-hander started. He's hit real well against lefties, but it hasn't hit well at all against right-handers. Slider for a strike over the outside. LaRue is hitting only 200 against right-handed pitching. In fact, the whole Reds lineup, and this is where you really even more realize the importance of the loss of Griffey to that lineup. I mean, they've been struggling all year against right-handed pitching, and they've mostly been facing right-handers. They've hit well against lefties, the few they faced. LaRue is 0 for 1. He is lined to second, and he's walked. Oh, man. That was right at him, and I think he swatted at it just to try and protect himself, and he got hit. And The Cincinnati trainer is coming out. Meanwhile, Tony La Russa is coming out. He wants that to be ruled a swing.
And it's a good job by the home plate umpire. They're all going to get together and decide what happened.
There's Bob Boone, the Reds manager, out. Well, that ball not only was ruled a swing, but the ball rolled out to the third baseman Pujols, who threw him out. And threw him out, and the inning is over. So although he was hit by the pitch, it was ruled to be in play, and the inning is over. Mark McGwire coming up, then Edmonds and Pujols. Tonight baseball, it is 3-0. The Reds leading the Cardinals. We go to the last of the fourth. A very bizarre play to end the Reds half of the fourth inning. Jason LaRue at the plate, and you can see clearly got hit right in the hand, but it was ruled a swing. The bat becomes part, or the hand becomes part of the bat if you swing, and Pujols threw him out.
It also looked like the ball could have hit the end of the bat, the knob as well, and his hand at the same time.
We are glad to see that LaRue is well enough to take his position back behind the plate as Rob Bell throws ball one to Mark McGwire. McGwire, who hit a fastball onto the warning track near the 402-foot marker in the first inning. Have you ever seen a play quite like that, Joe?
Not exactly like that. I've seen guys swing with
and get hit.
Yes.
And that's a ball outside, 3-0. Jim Edmonds on deck, and then Albert Pujols. I mean, you could pay a stiff price on this Cardinal team when you walk McGwire. The guys behind him can hurt you.
Well, that's the reason I said that he brings a lot to the table. He forces you to pitch to the man in front of him, and if you walk him, you're putting runners on base for the players behind him.
Now, the Cardinals need runs. They're down 3-0. They're in a pennant race. And yet, the fans were upset that McGwire didn't get a strike.
But I don't think they paid their $20 or whatever they paid to see Mark McGwire walk. They wanted to see McGwire hit.
Well, the more he hits, the more he's going to walk. Let me just tell you.
True.
All Cardinal fans.
That is true.
Barry Bonds
has found that out.
Yeah. Here is Jim Edmonds. Down and away for ball one. Edmonds struck out looking his first time. I mean, but, you know, really, you want to see Big Mac hit a homer, of course. But he got on base. They need base runners. They're down by 3. That's good.
Well, in their minds, John, if he would have been able to swing, it would be 3-1 now. Instead of 3-0 and a runner at first.
It is raining again in St. Louis, and this game is not an official game. We're in the fourth inning. 3-0 Cincinnati. Rob Bell back out there after a long delay. He was off to a strong start tonight. 3 no-hit innings. Did he swing? No. Third base umpire Marty Foster on the appeal. 2-1 the count. The Cincinnati bullpen is busy just in case. As Bob Boone, as was the case with Tony La Russa. There's Scott Winchester, the right-hander, up in the bullpen. He's not sure what Rob Bell's going to have left after the long delay. For Bell, it was almost an hour, or in fact over an hour. Remember, the Reds inning was already in full swing, the top of the fourth, when the rain delay hit. So it's been well over an hour since Bell last pitched. Now Don Gullett is coming out, the pitching coach for the Reds, to talk to Rob Bell, who has already walked McGwire, and now he's 3-1 to Jim Edmonds. I mean, Bell, nothing's gone right for him this year. He is 0-3. The team is 0-6 in the games he has started. And when he has pitched well, the club has not scored for him. And now tonight he's pitching well. They have scored some runs, and then their big rain delay hits.
Yeah, well, this is, the Reds are probably saying this is kind of typical of their season. Everything has worked against them. And tonight they score some runs, and you mentioned Bell's pitching great, and all of a sudden they have to sit in the dugout for an hour.
3-1 the count. Jim Edmonds. Dangerous, dangerous hitter. And he's been struggling, although he says that he felt better at the plate yesterday than he's felt in a long while. Felt like it was coming back to him. He had a big rip at that one, looking for a fastball. He got it, but it didn't look like a strike.
No, it looks like a sinker down and in and off the plate.
3-2 the count. McGuire at first. We're not expecting him to run here. And the same pitch. So Edmonds down on strikes.
Well, this is one of the problems that Edmonds has had all year. I mean, he strikes out a lot. That's a changeup. And it's down and in. And both times he's out in front. And he chases it.
So those are great pitches from him.
Yes. Well, you should. Well, the 3-1 pitch was a ball. If you take that, then you get ball 4. But he was fooled on it, so he swung at it.
Albert Pujols, he flied out to left his first time. The rookie, we were able to meet with his wife earlier in the game, with Roberto Clemente Jr. chatting with her. That's strike 2 called on the outside, a slider. So Pujols quickly down on the count, 0-2. Making the jump. Last year at this time he was in A-ball, his first year as a professional. Nice save there by LaRue. This one is not considered a fair ball. Last time he got thrown out by Albert Pujols. 1-2 the count. Ray Langford on deck. Well, that's the way they practice it over and over again in the spring, right, Joe?
Well, they throw balls and bounce them in front of the catcher, and what they really want you to do is just like that, get your body in front of it.
Well, that kept the double play in order. McGuire still at first. 1 out. He swung at it. Strike 3. Well, Rob Bell has put it back together here, striking out consecutive hitters after the walk.
Watch, he tries to check his swing. I'm not so sure. I guess that was another changeup. It doesn't look like it's breaking so much as the speed is fooling the hitters.
Two down, and here is Ray Langford. Langford grounded out to second his first time. 1 ball and no strikes. There's McGuire at first, talking to Sean Casey.
You know, John, I almost forgot. Albert Pujols wanted me to say hello to his grandmother, America, his brother Wilkins, and his brother Robert. They're all in Kansas City. He just wanted me to say hello to them, and I almost forgot. I was going to actually wait until he did something very positive to say it was for them.
Well, what are you, Western Union?
Well, he asked me to do it.
Fastball right by Ray Langford. Now, Ray likes that low fastball, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He likes that low fastball. But he's not used to hitting in this low in the batting order. You know, Ray Langford's been a guy that's been one of the featured hitters in the lineup, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, or something.
He hit behind McGuire a lot the year he hit 70.
And now he's hitting way down in the order. Although since they moved him down there, he's really hit a lot of home runs. He's driven in 20 runs in 27 games. So he has actually responded well to this spot. And he said, look, I could get upset, but I'm not, because at least I'm still in the lineup, and all I want to do is play. So, and that's a good attitude to have.
Well, what difference does it make? I mean, they pitch to him the same, don't they?
Yeah, but it makes a difference in that
2-1 the count.
If you're up at the top of the order, you're going to get more opportunities to drive in runs. If you're hitting 4th, behind McGuire hitting 3rd, you're going to get more chances to drive in runs, as he did, you know, the years he hit behind McGuire.
Well, you know, and I remember there were times that year, and a lot of times, where he hit just in front of McGuire, too.
Correct.
I guess that would make a big difference.
McGuire is the guy. You want to hit in front of him or behind him? Preferably in front.
And there's that changeup, strike 3. Bell comes back and strikes out the side. No wonder they were booing when McGuire was walked. Dimitri Young, then Sean Casey coming up. Sunday Night Baseball from St. Louis. We go to the top of the 5th inning on a wet, cool night in St. Louis. 3-0 Cincinnati. Want to remind you now, the 2001 College World Series from Omaha, Nebraska is coming up. As many as 14 games will be seen on ESPN and ESPN2. Coverage begins this coming Friday on ESPN at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Some of the clubs that are already in: Cal State Fullerton. Nebraska makes it for the first time. Tulane, the Hurricanes from Miami, the Volunteers from Tennessee, Southern Cal, and Stanford. Some of those teams always seem to be in there. J.D. Drew, who was a great in the College World Series in years past. Dimitri Young, first ball swinging, and he is thrown out by Fernando Vina. Dimitri is now 1 for 3. J.D. Drew, out of Florida State, once hit 3 home runs in a game at the College World Series. 1995 through the second one. Now, Joe, that did not sound like a metal bat, did it?
Well, it jumped like a metal bat. Actually, John, I missed doing the College World Series. I really enjoyed it. It was kind of like the Final Four in basketball when all the teams are there in Omaha.
Strike 1 to Sean Casey. He started the 3-run 4th inning rally with a single to left field against the tough left-hander Mike Matthews. One of the keys to that inning, a left-handed hitter getting a hit against Matthews. Only the 4th hit allowed by Matthews to a left-handed hitter this year. I think 39 at bats against him by lefties. Renteria. And Casey is gone. Out number 2 down. You're talking about the College World Series. USC's got a pitcher that being talked about a lot as maybe being one of the top draft choices in the baseball amateur draft upcoming. And that's Mark Pryor. And Marty Aronoff, part of our crew out here, says that they have another pitcher who's pretty good too, named Rick Courier. But what happened to Mark Teixeira? The slugger everybody's been talking about at Georgia Tech. Where's Georgia Tech? Rivera, and he takes ball 1.
Maybe they walked him like they do Barry Bonds. Hey. Boo! Yeah, just walk him.
Ruben Rivera, he walked in that rally in the 4th inning and is 0 for 1. 2 down, nobody on. James. That is a fair ball. Hits the box seat railing. Langford fires to second, and he got him.
Man, nice play on both ends. I think it was a good play by Rivera to try to get there to second base with 2 outs, and a great throw there by Langford, and a nice tag by Vina.
And the fans did not interfere with it, and that made all the difference for the Cardinals. Vina there with the tag. We go to the last of the 5th.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Nextel, how business gets done. And in part by Phillips, technology that's making life a little better all the time.
Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Big Mac's house. And so far, the Cincinnati Reds are out front 3-0, last of the 5th inning. And Edgar Renteria, the 7th place hitter, leads off, taking a strike from Rob Bell. Mike Matheny, and then the pitcher's spot to follow. That is foul. You know, Joe, I like the attitude of those people down the left field line. Remember earlier in the game when Sean Casey had a fly ball foul down there? They moved out of the way of Langford and let him go in and make the catch. They didn't interfere with him.
Right.
And now they didn't interfere with that ball. Had they, the umpires probably would have allowed Ruben Rivera a double. Instead, the fans let the play happen. Although I saw some people reaching out as though maybe they were thinking about it. That's a base hit for Renteria. I don't know how he hit that pitch.
Well, Pokey Reese doesn't either, because Pokey was actually chasing the bat, which went toward the middle, because Pokey broke up the middle on the play, and the ball was hit in the hole. So I guess the bat kind of was what he was following rather than the ball.
Well, I don't think that's a bad idea. I mean, that bat, when it's flying around out there and it's broken off like that.
Watch Pokey Reese.
he breaks that way, and you see the ball's hitting the hole over here. Yeah, I was watching Pokey, and I said, I didn't know exactly what he was doing. See, the bat starts up the middle, and Pokey starts up the middle, but the ball is going in the hole, and Pokey is already broken towards second base.
Renteria just threw the bat at it and got himself a base hit. That one is hit deep by Matheny. Way back there. It is gone. The first 2 hits for the Cardinals, and just like that, their first 2 runs.
Well, this is a high fastball right in the middle of the plate. Middle half in, and he just drills it. See, it's up, and Matheny puts a charge into it. Dimitri Young didn't even move in left field. That ball was hit really well.
Now a pinch hitter out of the Cardinal dugout, Craig Paquette. 3-2 Cincinnati. High in the air to right field. This one will stay in the park. Ochoa, plenty of room, and Paquette is gone. This has happened very quickly here. Renteria threw his bat at the ball and got himself a base hit. The next pitch, Matheny hit out of the ballpark. The next pitch, Paquette hit back near the warning track in right. Now the top of the order. Fernando Vina, leadoff man, has walked and stolen a base and flied out to center. We're in the 5th inning. Rob Bell has seen the leadoff man reach base in 4 of the first 5 innings, and it finally caught up with him here in the 5th inning. Renteria, the first man to score after leading off by reaching for the Cardinals over the inside of the fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike to Vina. He questions that call by Ron Culpa, the plate umpire. Cardinals have hit 78 home runs now. I mean, they've hit a lot of home runs, even though McGuire's missed most of the season. They've got 19 homers from Drew, 16 from Pujols, 13 from Langford. And the 2 guys that you'd be figuring would lead them in home runs, McGuire and Edmonds. McGuire's got 2 and Edmonds has 8. Left center. And Rivera with Dimitri Young sliding to get out of his way. Ruben Rivera catches up to it, out number 2.
And you saw a little bit of what what we were talking about earlier, John, the speed that Rivera has and just some of the potential that he has. Watch how much ground he covers to get to this ball. He got a great jump on it, and he goes over and makes the catch. And remember, he's running on a wet track out there, and you see Dimitri Young in the background slide, and he just missed getting kicked by Rivera.
It's one of those in-between balls where you hope that there isn't a collision. A bunt by J.D. Drew. Now, Drew is the possible tying run. Well, he's facing a right-hander. He's leading the club with 19 homers, but he bunted.
Well, you know, most baseball people will tell you with 2 outs, you try to hit a double. At worst, I mean, you don't bunt in this situation.
How about, though, in St. Louis, is there a priority with 2 outs, do whatever it takes to get McGuire up?
No, I don't think that should be a priority because you can't put all the pressure on McGuire. And that's what happens when you bunt with 2 outs. You're putting pressure on the next guy to do the job. Now, if you're trailing, of course, that's a good idea.
Drew into the alleyway, right center field. Rivera's going to have to go chase it. Drew has great speed. He's going to go for 3. Here's the relay. They'll hold it. A triple for Drew.
Well, that's more of what the Cardinals would like for him to do with 2 outs. You try to find a gap, get yourself in the scoring position. And Bob Boone is sitting there saying, why didn't the bunt work?
So Drew with the triple, and here's McGuire in the rain. This is 1 out away from being an official game. We're in the 5th inning. The Reds lead 3-2.
Ooh, nice job there by LaRue to block that pitch. Well, what you've seen so far is we've seen Rob Bell want to throw the changeup to Mark McGuire. McGuire got a changeup that he hit to straightaway center field, almost hit it out of the ballpark his first time up. But because of the changeup, he had him a little bit off balance, and he kept it in the ballpark. And that's what he's been doing, trying to mix in a fastball with the changeup.
He's got a real good changeup. That fastball is off the outside. 2-0. Bullpen activity, meanwhile, for the Cardinals. The Reds bullpen is quiet. This is important, I think, Joe, because we don't know how long this game's going to be able to go with this rain. Cardinals would like to at least get this run home before it becomes an official game. And McGuire on a check swing. That went in there for a strike. 2-1.
Well, that's the first time that he's come inside with the fastball. He threw the fastball away 2-0 his first at bat, and everything was away. The changeup was away and the fastball was away. So a perfect time for him to come inside right there when he's throwing him like 12 pitches away.
2-1 the count. Drew at third. They're going inside again. McGuire shoots a foul.
Well, that's a good pitch again, simply because he didn't make any mistake with it. He made sure he got it in. And now he's got McGuire set up for where he really wants to go. See, look at the target. See where this ball is? Right where the target is, maybe even a little bit off the plate inside, but a good pitch there by Bell. But if you're McGuire, you can almost bet that this will be a changeup.
2-2 the count. And that's what it was.
Yeah.
Strike 3 call.
Beautiful pitch in there. He set him up with 2 fastballs inside. Now he goes back away with a changeup. That's great pitching.
2 runs, 3 hits, 1 left. It is now an official game. Mike Matheny hitting the 2-run homer for the first Cardinal runs. And Mike Eastman, the hitting coach, was wearing a microphone.
Go, Mike. Get out of here, ball. Get out of here. Yeah. Wait, I told you we called.
Sunday Night Baseball, the Reds 3, the Cardinals 2 as we go to the 6th inning. Mark McGuire called out on strikes to win the Cardinals' 5th.
Well, this was a big at bat. He was, as I said, he's throwing him fastballs and changeups. 2-0, a great fastball right on the corner, another one right on the corner, and now he goes back away with that changeup, and McGuire can't do anything with it. That, instead of saying that the hitter should have swung it, that was just great pitching, really, there by Rob Bell. He made 3 perfect pitches.
Now, Alan Bennis on to pitch for the Cardinals. Pokey Reese leads off. He's the 6th place hitter. Alan Bennis, who was in 30 games last year. He's had all kinds of shoulder problems. He's had 2 operations to repair a rotator cuff injury. Ball 1 strike.
And John, let me finish one point with McGuire. You know, 2 weeks from now, if he continues to play, you won't be able to pitch him the same way and have that kind of success. Part of the problem is he's set out so long, and his timing and his thinking is a little bit off. It's tough just to walk out here and hit major league pitching.
That is a fly ball in the shallow left center. Jim Edmonds. And Pokey Reese, who hit that 3-run homer for all of the Reds' runs back in the 4th inning. He is retired here. 1 away. Now Donnie Sadler will come up. It is raining once again in St. Louis.
But as you mentioned, it is now an official game if they were to stop it now.
And the Cardinals are trailing. There's a little more urgency. You've got the kind of weather we've had tonight, and you're the team trailing. To not be trailing by the time it becomes an official game. 1 ball and no strikes to Sadler. He has grounded out and walked. Alan Bennis, the younger brother of Andy Bennis, who's also with the Cardinals. And from Mascam, we see that one come in too low. Ball 2. Mike Matheny is going to go out and talk to Alan. And we're going with him.
Well, we have the Mascam. We might as well use it.
We appreciate Mike Matheny wearing Mascam tonight. Alan Bennis out of Creighton University, staring in at
Matheny for the side. Now he delivers. Low and outside, 3-0 the count. 10 years ago this week, Alan Bettis pitched in the College World Series. This Friday on ESPN. That's a fastball for a strike. 3-0 on the count. This dead center camera. And talking to big league players about it, Joe, both current players and former players. What they like about it is getting the true movement of pitches. They get really distorted from that other angle, the angle we're used to seeing, that off to the side angle from center field.
Well, what it really does, John, is it shows the fans at home why it's so difficult to hit a big league pitcher, because the ball is moving, and from the other cameras, the fastballs look straight, and the curveballs look like they just have a little wrinkle in them. But from here, you can see the great movement on the fastball.
And on the breaking ball there, knocked down by Matheny. 1 ball and no strikes. But I think that's a point you bring up. The movement on a fastball.
Right.
I mean,
not straight. They appear straight from the other angle, but here you can see that it moves in, because you can see the catcher's glove, and you can see where he starts with his glove and how he follows the movement of the ball.
Little movement that was the difference between Mariano Rivera just being a guy who throws hard and being a guy who is almost impossible to hit.
He dominates you with just that last little movement, even on his cut fastball. Everyone knows it's coming, but you don't know exactly when it's going to move.
Sadler at first. Sadler is a guy who can steal a base. He has excellent speed as Venice now goes to 3-0 on Castro. He walks Sadler on 4 pitches. Rob Bell, the pitcher, on deck. But we've got a real wet track now.
Right.
It's not going to be as easy for a base stealer to run, I wouldn't think, with the muddy going out there. That's a strike.
Well, with the count being 3-1, I think he should be running anyway, because as you mentioned before, the Reds are a team that has to manufacture runs. They're not normally going to hit 3-run homers as they've done tonight, but you want to make things happen. You want to try to get things going. And Donnie Sadler's a guy that can put pressure on the defense and make an infielder move if he goes.
Cardinals, Tony La Russa, thinking the same way you are, Joe. They make the throw over there.
I don't think there's any doubt he was going on that particular pitch, because he had a false step there. He may have even injured himself, because he looked like he was trying to break to second, and he had to come back. He may have twisted something there at first base.
Bill Doran, the first base coach, came over to him.
So maybe he will not be running now.
You see Matheny.
And you see him limping a little bit as well.
He's not going. He pulled up as he started. That ball is hit into left center field, fairly deep, but playable for Langford.
Well, what he did, John, he was trying to bluff so to let them think he was running, so that someone would move and would act like a hit and run, even though he wasn't running. But it looked like it was his right leg that he injured when he got back to first base. See, that's the bluff. He acted like he was going, because what you want to do is make someone move on the defense to cover second base and possibly open up a hole for Castro to hit the ball through.
Didn't look like anybody was buying it, though.
No. You don't break on his first movement. If you're middle infield, you don't give up your position that quickly.
Trevino and Renteria, veterans, been in the big leagues for a while, and neither one walked the deke there by Sadler. Rob Bell. Oh, what a grab by Mike Matheny. So Sadler still at first base, 2 down. Bell has struck out and had a sacrifice bunt. McGuire.
Well, he just picks this. And you see how he doesn't stab at it. He just lets the ball come to him.
It's super slow-mo. I mean, when you saw it live, it looked like he'd reached way up over his head to catch it. And you saw there that he caught it much lower, and the glove just kept going up. 2-0 the count. There's the way it looked, and then there's the way it really was. Just missing on the inside. 3-0. And We've seen Bell get pitches similar to that, but Bell's been right around the strike zone the whole game. Dennis has come on. He's been all over the place in this inning. 3-0 the count. Got the call on that one. 3-1 now. Three to 2, Cincinnati leading. We're in the 6th inning. Donnie Sadler over at first. Well, that's ball 4. So Bennis is not sure where the ball's going. That's his second walk of the inning. 2 on, 2 out, and Alex Ochoa due up. From Mascam. There's bullpen activity going for the Cardinals, and into your picture comes Dave Duncan. There's Mike Timlin heating up in the St. Louis bullpen. So Bennis has not come on and really engendered confidence, I'm sure, in his manager Tony La Russa, that he's going to keep his club close here the way he's been throwing. Long conversation going on out there. There's Andy Bennis. Been a tough year for Andy Bennis. 6.92 earned run average.
When I talked to him today, though, Johnny said his knee was feeling better, and he feels like with that, his pitching will get better as long as his knee continues to improve. Last year, he had a real huge brace on it when he was trying to bounce back, and it's his right leg, which, you know, causes, that's his push-off leg, so to speak.
Here's Alex Ochoa. 2 on, 2 out. He's the leadoff man tonight. Curveball too low. 1 ball to no strikes. There is Sadler at second base and Bell at first base. Interesting, doesn't put the warm-up jacket on. It's cool. 2-0. Jason LaRue on deck. Russa and Dave Duncan discussing it in the dugout. Timlin is getting ready in the bullpen. In fact, I think he's ready. It's a foul right back beneath us. 2 balls and a strike now to Ochoa. Ochoa has been one of the Reds' top hitters. Came into the game hitting .295 and is 1 for 2 in the game. Reds in that horrible month of May, they were 6 wins and 22 losses in May. Their team batting average was .222. Now that's a lot of games to be hitting that badly as a team.
The only times they played well was on the road.
The worst home record in the league. Toward the middle, Renteria. Cavina for the force out on Bell. So still 3-2. Jim Edmonds, then Albert Pujols and Ray Lankford coming up. 3-2 Cincinnati. It's the Reds 3, the Cardinals 2. Last of the 6th inning from St. Louis. Here's the GMC Envoy pitching summary. Rob Bell through 5 innings, giving up only 3 hits. 68 pitches thrown. Matheny hit a 2-run homer against him for the St. Louis runs. Matthews was back for just a brief time after the rain delay, and then they pulled him after he completed a walk to Sadler.
John, I'm going to show you why pitching coaches always say keep the ball down. This is Rob Bell in the 4th inning. He strikes out the side on all low pitches. Now, in the 5th inning, watch where this pitch is. High fastball, and it's hit right out of the ballpark. The ball is already elevated by being up in the strike zone, so when you hit it, you're going to hit a fly ball. And that's why most pitching coaches will tell you to keep the ball down. And I agree with that most of the time, but there are a lot of hitters who are also very good low ball hitters nowadays.
Jim Edmonds has struck out twice on the outside with a fastball. It is 0-1. Edmonds called out on strikes in the 1st, struck out swinging in the 4th. Only 7 hits in his last 59 at bats. To second baseman Sadler. What happened?
Well, one thing he wasn't exactly in front of it because it hit him and it caromed off to the side. So that tells you he wasn't exactly in front of it, because otherwise, if you're directly in front of this ball, it'll bounce up and hit you in the chest. Well, he was there. He just actually played it off his hand. Right there, you see it hits him off his glove. I don't know if he just, well, I don't know exactly what he played that and got a bad hop, I guess is the only way I can say it. It looked like it got to him a little quicker than he thought. And he actually had plenty of time to get Edmonds because he wasn't out of the box that quickly.
Now one of the hottest hitters in the league, Albert Pujols, a 21-year-old rookie, born in the Dominican Republic, moved to this country when he was 15 and a half. He was asked how his family ended up coming to Independence, Missouri, and said he wasn't ever quite sure about that.
Well, you see, Bell has pitched him the same way he has McGuire, a lot of change-ups.
Fastball outside. The throw goes down the right field line. LaRue to the pickoff throw, and Edmonds will go over to second. And that's been a difference for the Reds this year. You expect them to be real strong defensively, but defense has been a problem for them.
Well, here's the throw. Edmonds starts back. Well, he dives back into first base. Now he sees it, and he goes into second base. Well, he's trying to get back. He sees the ball going to second. Well, I guess he knew he was going to only make it to second base.
So an error for LaRue. That's 52 errors committed by the Reds this year. This is their 55th game. 2-0 to Pujols. They'll hold the runner at second, and Reese throws him out. So Albert Pujols is 0 for 3 in this game.
A lot of people would say 2-0, you try to go the other way to move the runner over in a tie ball game, but all your managers will tell you this guy's up there driving the run. Well, he got a 2-0 pitch to hit, and again, Bell is changing speeds very well, even on the right-handed hitters.
Now Ray Langford, he is grounded to second and struck out. He has 13 home runs this year. 3-2 Cincinnati. And that's a called strike.
The interesting thing about Bell, he has a great overhand curveball, a big breaking curveball. But the last couple of innings, he's basically gone with the fastball and the changeup. And if you have good arm speed with the changeup, that's an excellent way to pitch.
Rod Bell, acquired from Atlanta after the 1998 season by the Reds. There's a changeup. 0-2 the count. Now, it was a big deal, and his name was not in the headlines. The Reds sent Brett Boone and Mike Renlinger to the Braves in a deal in which they acquired Denny Nagel and Michael Tucker. And Bell also in that deal. Jim Bowden, the GM at the time, said, hey, Bell was a real key to the deal. Great arm. They thought he had the kind of stuff that they compared him to John Smoltz and Darryl Kyle. And that's when you talk about his curveball, Joe. Those guys with great curveballs. Edmonds at second. 1 out. Change up. A little bit high.
Well, he really stopped using the curveball, which is a little surprising to me, especially when you have a hitter 2 strikes. He struck Edmonds out on a good curveball in the first inning, but since that time he hasn't used the curveball that much.
One ball and 2 strikes to Langford. Edmonds at second. Another changeup.
Well, like I said, his changeup is working because he has the same arm motion with his changeup that he has with his fastball. And again, I mean, he's just using fastball changeup. That's basically what he's doing now. And there you see the rotation is, and it goes down a little bit, and Langford way out in front.
So 2 down, and not Don Gullett out. Edgar Renteria due up. 3-2 Cincinnati leading.
Sports Center coming up next. Dan Patrick and Stuart Scott, they're standing by. They're on the set. The scripts are written. The highlights are cut. It could be an award-winning show. Oh, a couple of last-minute changes. Oh, Dan. Dan Patrick, he doesn't even know what we're talking about. Stay tuned. Sports Center following the game. Allen versus Allen, the 76ers and the Bucks taking it to the limit. Tiger being Tiger.
I think that was a mismatch.
And the Sunday conversation with Barry Bonds. Dan Patrick and Stuart Scott will be talking about some of the best in their respective games on Sports Center. High fly foul off the right field line by Edgar Renteria. I mean, you think that they have to sit there on the set the whole time the game's going on? Once it's 11 o'clock and they're supposed to be there, that they're there.
Well, they get paid from 11, don't they?
So you mean that's the reason?
Hey, you punch the clock. We get paid from the first inning here, right? We have to be here.
I mean,
we have to be here.
They had their ties on.
Yeah.
Handsome clothes.
Nice ties, too.
Down the right field line. That is a fair ball. Renteria gets Edmonds home. It's tied up. And the throw got loose. And Renteria, he's going to come home. He is out at the plate. The ball recovered by Castro. The throw being relayed in from the right fielder Ochoa. Deflected off a glove, and Renteria decided to go for broke on that one. And Castro initially surprised with a perfect throw. It is 3-3.
Phil Pito back in the studio as Nextel takes us to Sky Dome for the longest home run ever hit at Sky Dome. Manny Ramirez off Chris Carpenter in the 4th inning. 491 feet away, 5th deck, off the tarp up there. Manny's 18th of the year, tied for the league lead with A-Rod and Carlos Delgado. And the Red Sox sweep the Jays. The final score today, 5-4. Ramirez, 491-foot bomb.
And there's Mike Timlin, the new pitcher for the Cardinals, as we go to the 7th inning. The game tied at 3. Edgar Renteria doubling home the tying run. And then there was a throwing error, as we see Timlin's numbers. And Renteria just kept on going. But the Reds, who made 3 errors in the inning, finally executed.
Well, first Edmonds was put on base by error by the second baseman. He moved to second base on an error by the catcher LaRue. And here's Renteria. He moves to third on the error by the right fielder. And now they decide to send him home. And you're right. Look at Castro was surprised, but look how strong his arm is. He just kind of snap throw right on target in plenty of time. And they tag Renteria out.
And LaRue able to hold on to the ball, even though he never got his bare hand in there to make sure. He did a one-handed tag on the collision and still got it. Now, Renteria going all the way around the bases. Here's what happened here yesterday. On a ball into that right field corner. Ochoa crashing into the wall. And Castro went out to retrieve it. Renteria going for the inside the Parker. It's the same tag. The same guy threw it, and the same guy made the same tag.
Exactly.
A one-handed tag.
Nice block, though, yesterday. Blocked him off the plate.
Here is Jason LaRue. Well, LaRue is proving that he can take some punishment. He got hit in the hand. And ended up, he was swinging at the ball, so the ball rolled over to third. He was thrown out of the play.
And, John, I have to wonder if that ball really hit him on his finger. I mean, if you get your finger pinned to the bat with a 90-plus mile-an-hour fastball, I don't know if you're going to stay in the game.
Well, how about if you're actually swinging at the ball?
Well, yeah, but I think it hit his. I'm wondering if it hit the knob.
You mean you think he was faking it?
Well, I mean, wouldn't be the first time.
You mean the first time for LaRue or the first time in baseball?
First time in baseball.
Now, yesterday, by the way, I stand corrected. I'm giving LaRue a little bit too much credit. As Steve Klein, a left-hander, acquired from Montreal in the offseason, starts to warm up for the Cardinals. Yesterday, it was Kelly Stinnett. I mean, what is it? All the Reds catchers make one-handed tags at the plate? Is that it?
Kelly Stinnett, the other Cincinnati catcher, got Renteria yesterday. And the strikeout. Timlin gets LaRue chasing the slider. LaRue is 0 for 3. Now Dimitri Young with Sean Casey behind him.
That's a big breaking slider. You see the downward motion and across the zone. And LaRue chases it well off the plate outside.
Dimitri Young has singled, struck out, and grounded out. 1 for 3. 3-3, top of the 7th. I mean, the Reds made 3 errors. Talk about giving away a run. Sports Center right after the game. Timlin can still reach back a little bit. 95 miles an hour on that fastball. 3-3 to score in the 7th. Sean Casey on deck. Oh, he's just too quick for Dimitri Young right now.
Now, Dimitri Young, unlike a lot of left-handed hitters, he's not handling that ball down in the end.
With Sean Casey up next, a left-handed batter. I'm sure that's why Klein is getting ready in the bullpen, just in case. High in the air, but foul off the left field line. We had at one point an outstanding crowd here tonight, but it had rained before the game. The crowd was late arriving, and then after the Reds scored 3 runs at the top of the 4th inning, during that inning, we went into a rain delay. 44 minutes in duration. In the dirt for a ball. 1-2. So I guess some of these Cardinal fans probably have to work tomorrow. Maybe that's it. I mean, where are they? They must have gone home. Some of them said, hey, let's go home and listen to Joe Morgan analyze this ball game at home. 1-2 the count. And he struck him out with a changeup. Out number 2. Well, coming up, NHL Stanley Cup final action tomorrow on ABC at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. It's Game 5. New Jersey and Colorado. The series tied at 2 apiece. The Devils won last night 3-2 to even it up. Peter Sikora had the game-winning goal with 2:37 to go. Coverage begins with Quest for the Cup, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. And then the opening face-off, 8 o'clock on ABC. Ray Bourque. You know, Ray Bourque, he has been playing in the NHL since I was with the Boston Red Sox show over 20 years ago. Nice play by Renteria, throwing out Casey. Ray Bourque has never been in a Stanley Cup champion, though. Renteria, nicely done. 3-3. Sports Center coming up after the ball game, and there's a woman who apparently is an artist, Joe,
doing a very good one.
Dan Patrick. Now, the real thing will be standing by. The real Dan Patrick. That's the artist's impression of Dan. Let's say that he was on trial for something. Then you might have the artist's impression of what happened in court that day. And that's the way Dan would look in that circumstance. Nicely done, though.
The court order.
Mike Matheny, who hit a 2-run homer, starting the Cardinals comeback. That was in the 5th inning. 1 ball, 1 strike to count now. Mike Timlin is out on deck, although the Cardinal bullpen is busy. 1-1 the count. Shallow left center field. And nobody can get to it. And now Matheny's going to go for 2. Neither Rivera nor the left fielder Young could get to that one, and Matheny ends up with a bloop double.
Well, the problem there is no one knew that they were going to get there and be able to call so that they would avoid a collision with the other one. Everyone was converging on it. Watch, they're both converging on the ball, but they're not sure they can get there. You see, actually, Rivera broke back a little bit. They're all going to collide otherwise. Right there, they would have collided if they beat at the ball. But they couldn't get there. As you see him slow up, and that lets Dimitri go in front of him, and the ball bounces away.
Now we're going to get a pinch hitter for Mike Timlin. It will be Kerry Robinson coming up with The possible go-ahead run over at second base. But meanwhile, the Cincinnati bullpen has also been busy, and Bob Boone is going out to the mound. So they all gather around the skipper. Scott Winchester warming up. Or rather, no, that's not Winchester now. He had been warming up earlier. That is Chris Nichting, just brought up from the minor leagues a couple of days ago. So Nichting is now warming up out there. Runner at second, nobody out, and Boone is going to stay with Rob Bell, who deserves a little better than what his club has been giving him here. They gave away a run in the 6th inning with 3 errors. And now Matheny with the bloop double. Just some tough luck there. Not that anybody was at fault for not catching.
Well, Jose Oquendo has come all the way down because apparently he was trying to make sure that he got the sign from La Russa, and apparently he didn't have a sign yet. Because Kerry Robinson was standing outside of the batter's box waiting. Oh, I guess they're going to pinch run. That's what they're waiting for.
So Matheny is going to leave the field. He had a walk, a homer, and now this bloop double. And as well as doing a great job behind the plate, as usual. Nobody has yet come out to replace him yet. Well, I think if you're going to make this move, Joe, the guy should be available.
Yeah.
Just go out there.
Well, Tony's saying, where is he? I guess they're maybe they're looking for an Olympic gold medalist or something.
Well, we got Eli Marrero, who is the other catcher, running in from the bullpen. I think this is wrong. They talk about aspects of the game that could be changed a little bit so that we don't have
the dead
downtime. Yeah.
That's all you're trying to eliminate.
And if you want to make a move, well, have your guy and make the move. If he's not there, then you can't make the move. All right. So there's Marrero. We could have run Sports Center while they were putting in this pinch runner. All right. So Marrero is at second. And Kerry Robinson coming up now. Signed as a free agent this past December. He had been in the Yankees organization last year. Hit .318 with 37 steals at Columbus in AAA ball.
And I thought this was a bunt situation because if you're the Cardinals, you're saying, you know, we need to win this ball game. They'd lost 4 in a row before winning yesterday's ball game, so you try to do little things to get yourself out of this bad spell, and I think this is a perfect time to go ahead and try to bunt, move the run over at third, to go ahead and run to third base with less than 2 outs. Although a lot of teams do not play it this way.
Kerry Robinson, a native of St. Louis, gets the bunt down, and LaRue's going to go to third. He's there in time, and the out is made. So Marrero. Oh, wait a minute.
They're calling it a foul ball, I think.
Here comes Bob Boone in a hurry, and Wally Bell, the crew chief, meets him.
Well, what Boone is saying, well, if it touched him, then he's out. They're calling it a foul ball, and Boone is saying, well, if it touched him outside of the batter's box. From up here, of course, you can't see if the ball touched him or not.
Well, I mean, it's a huge call, obviously. Instead of a runner at first and 1 out, they, in effect, get a do-over here.
Well, it does hit him in the batter's box. It looked like it hit the hand again. Looked like it bounces up and hits him on the hand, and he was definitely still in the batter's box.
So it was a great call.
Yeah, I'm being honest with you. We can't see from up here whether the ball bounces up and hits him. I knew it was an erratic bounce, but you can't tell what happened.
Well, let's face it, unless we see it in super slow-mo, we can't see any of it.
Right. Well, maybe, and that's what's good about the umpires. They can see things in super slow motion.
I mean, that's a great call.
Right there, it hits him on the hand, actually. Yeah, Griffey Jr. saw it, so he should be an umpire. Griffey Sr., he should be an umpire.
And Robinson again bunts it. This one is a foul ball. Picked up by Rob Bell. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. So Robinson, native of St. Louis, graduated from Hazelwood East High School, a great all-round athlete, played baseball, football, and hockey there. Set school records for batting average in the baseball season and goals scored in the hockey season. This is one of those guys, Joe, could play in the World Series and the Stanley Cup if things, broke just right for him.
It reminded me when you were giving that hockey promo, and I was thinking to myself, I would like to just be on a breakaway in Patrick Roy and just try to stop me.
Just you and
just
Patrick
me
Roy.
Yeah, just me on the move. Just me on the move, so I could give him my little slap shot.
It's you. Well, let me tell you, if you ever dream of beating Patrick Roy, you better wake up and apologize.
I was thinking that, though, when you were talking. I said, let me just get up on a breakaway. I don't know who's going to skate for me either. But
you're always thinking the same. I could take him. Give me some skates. I could take him. There's a bouncer foul onto the left. 1 and 2. That's what Phil Orleans, our producer, just said. Joe's all signed up for the Colorado Avalanche fantasy camp. You've never even seen a pair of skates.
No, not with a hockey stick in my hand anyway.
Yeah, slap shot. He slams him into the board. Yeah. Let's play a little hockey up here right now. 1 ball to 2 strikes. And Robinson rips one down the right field line. In there, base hit. Being held at third is Marrero. Ochoa with a great arm. Remember, nobody out. So Kendo said, well, let's not take any kind of a chance here. We got all the big guys at top of the order still to come.
Well, Marrero did a good job of base running there. He knew that the ball was going to be a base hit, and he did get a good jump. And by the time Ochoa got this ball, he would have been able to score. As Ochoa has to right himself, and his throw is going to be to second base. See right there, see him take off right now? If he goes right now, I mean, he can make it easy.
Mike Easler, the hitting coach, wearing a microphone.
Get that line, Barry. Yeah. Come on, Eli, go. Aye, man.
Well, I agree with you. Aye, man. He should have scored.
Well, when you see that replay, I mean, it looked like he obviously would have scored easily.
Right, and I think he would have. I mean, in my vision, I could see him, and I could see where the ball was. And how many times we've seen guys not be able to score runners from third with less than 2 outs, although they have a good guy up here now in Fernando Vina.
First and third, nobody out. Rob Bell trying to get out of a jam here, and Robinson is a fast runner. Well, at first base.
I think this is a situation where you have to let Vina go ahead and hit. That's, my opinion. It's hard to double Vina up.
Fernando Vina 0 for 2 with a walk in this game, hitting .311 with runners in scoring position. Very high from Bell. 1 ball and no strikes. There is Marrero, the pinch runner at third base, and Terry Robinson, who was asked to bunt and did not get it done. So the bunt was taken off and he ripped the base hit. Similar to what happened with Pokey Reese of the Reds back in the 4th inning with 2 men on. He looked to bunt a couple of times and they said, oh, forget about it. And he hit a 3-run homer. That's a foul off to the left. That reminds me of the story I once heard Vin Scully tell about the late Walter Alston, a longtime manager of the Dodgers. He said, Alston once said the best signs he ever put on were bunt signs that he took off. I've only seen that a couple of times tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike to Fernando Vina. Third baseman Castro, shallow. First baseman Casey on the bag with the runner there. Woo! Quick reactions by LaRue, and the ball that got away from Bell. 2-1.
If there was one out, I would go ahead and let Kerry Robinson try to steal the base. But the point is, if there's a ground ball hit now, you're going to score a run. Now, if Kerry Robinson was to take off and just be thrown out, then they could bring the infield in.
2-1 the count. There's that double fake. Now, he wasn't looking to pick off anybody, right? Was he looking to maybe get an idea on what Robinson had in mind there?
Well, if you're the runner at first base and you're going to steal, you have to go on his first movement. So I think that he, that's why that move is designed. It's designed to get the runner at first base.
He is not going, and the changeup up and away. Now that was the 90th pitch thrown by Bell, but remember he also sat out after pitching his first 3 innings for more than an hour while the Reds batted in the 4th, and we had the rain delay. So it's been a long night for him. And you wonder if fatigue is starting to settle in for him. 3-1 the count. That's Robinson at first base. Marrero at third. Nobody out.
He should be going probably on this pitch. No, he's not.
That's a foul off the left field line. I don't know. That might have been ball 4 to Vigna, but he went after it. 3-2. All right, 3-2. So is he going this time?
Well, if he didn't go 3-1, he's probably not going. But I think it's a good situation here to send him.
Well, it might open a hole for Vigna too. I'm sending him, Joe, myself.
Okay. Well, we're in agreement here. We'll both send him.
No,
but Tony La Russa won't send him.
Sean Casey gets one, but cannot get up to throw home. Marrero scores, but Casey saved an extra base hit there with a great sprawling grab to take one away from Vigna, who does get the RBI. And for the first time, the Cardinals are ahead.
Well, I think one of the reasons that you do not send the runner in that situation, you do not want to strike him out, throw him out situation, and then have 2 outs with a runner at third base. No one's running here, and a nice play by Casey as he crawls back almost to get this ball. He looks at home, and here's a good question. Well, he's on the ground. He can't look at home, because otherwise, if he looks at home first, and Vigna's right in the baseline, that could have been interesting.
Now the ball gets away with Drew at the plate. One finally got by Jason LaRue, and over to third base goes Robinson on the wild pitch. And here comes Bob Boone now. So this may do it for Rob Bell, who has started to show signs of fatigue.
John, let me show you something here. Now watch. He looks up. Now where Vigna's running inside the line. If he hits him right there, that's interference. You see, he's running inside the line right there. But obviously that's something that you don't think about right away.
So Rob Bell departs trailing, and Nick Ding is coming in for the bullpen to face J.D. And a heavy rain has begun to fall as 34-year-old right-hander Chris Nickding, a native of Cincinnati, comes on to pitch for the Reds. For the runner at third base, 1 out. And the Cardinals with a 1-ball no-strike count on J.D. Drew. Robinson, the runner at third.
The infield is all the way in.
Back to the screen. 1 ball, 1 strike. After Drew, it is Mark McGwire. J.D. Drew hit a triple back in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 3. He is the Cardinals' home run leader so far this year. There's Robinson, who got a base hit as a pinch hitter in this inning. There's Rob Bell, tough luck pitcher tonight. Ooh, nice breaking ball from Nickting, and it is 1-2.
As good as J.D. Drew has been swinging a bat, he still has trouble with slow pitches, with change-ups and slow curveballs. He can handle, looks like, the fastball, the sliders, but he looks like he has more trouble with that straight change-up and the slow curveballs.
Infield in all the way around, and the slider low and in for a ball. Nickting, out of Northwestern University, also went to Elder High School in Cincinnati. So he was an All-American at Northwestern. His teammate in college at Northwestern was Joe Girardi. Now with the Cubs. 2-2 the count. Up and away with a fastball. 3-2. But he's been with 7 different organizations over the years. His only previous big league experience was with Cleveland last year for a few games and the Texas Rangers in 1995. And the strikeout.
Well, that's what I was talking about. He has trouble with the off-speed pitches, and I was wondering why it took him so long to throw him another one.
So 2 down, and here is Mark McGwire.
Well, they got him out in the first inning with a changeup away. Here's the changeup away, hits it to center field. Now the last time up, they threw him 2 fastballs in, and then they go away with a changeup on the third pitch. This is a fastball in. Now watch the same spot he struck him out on with the changeup away. So that's how they've been pitching him, fastballs and changeups.
High in the air, up into the rain.
Fastball.
Sean Casey looking right up into the falling rain into foul territory. Takes it. And McGwire is gone on 1 pitch. McGwire 0 for 3 tonight. So the Cardinals don't get that extra run home. But they do get the run home that puts them ahead. Rivera, Reese, and Sadler due up now for the Reds. We go to the 8th inning in the rain in St. Louis. 4-3 Cardinals. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, whether it be warm weather, cold weather, rainy, or sunshiny, we're there to provide you full coverage. And now into the 8th inning, and Gene Steckschulte, the 27-year-old right-hander from Lima, Ohio. And as I understand it, everybody from Lima used to be a fan of the Cincinnati Reds.
Yes. Very close.
I guess we've gotten a confirmation on that now.
Well, it's very close to Cincinnati.
Well, how close? I mean, it's in the same state?
Yeah, but I mean, no, Lima's about, I'm going to be wrong, but it's not that far. It's within an hour and a half, hour or something.
It's about it's about not that far?
Well, it's in the area. So hour and a half drive or something.
I thought you were an authority. You came on real strong there, and all of a sudden it's about
well, you said they are Reds fans. I've been to Lima, Ohio several times when I played for the Reds. It's not that far.
I think when I hit you over the head with a stick when we started playing hockey, commercial. Yeah. Sorry, it's obviously had an effect. All right, Lima, very close.
Very
not
close
that far
to Cincinnati.
From
right.
Cincinnati, yeah.
Right.
It's in the same state.
No, it's closer, a lot closer. It's close.
All right, Steckschulte with a called strike to Ruben Rivera. Marrero also in the game now, doing the catching. Steckschulte got a save here the other day. Been at 23 games, 0-2 with 2 saves. Cardinals bullpen has really done a fine job for La Russa. Now don't forget, after the game, Sports Center coming up.
Dan Patrick would know how far Lima is from Cincinnati.
I should have asked him. And in the dirt, but pulled out by McGwire. Pujols threw one in the vicinity, not too far from McGwire. Meanwhile, ESPN Game Track, Pokey Reese, a 3-run homer back in the 4th inning to put the Reds ahead before the rains. Then in the 5th inning, after the rain delay, Mike Matheny, 2-run big fly, 3-2 the score. And then the go-ahead run in the 7th inning on this ground ball, a great play by Sean Casey, but sliding across the plate, the pinch runner Marrero, and that is the run that has the Cardinals leading right now as Pokey Reese takes ball 1. Pokey made that 3-run homer. That's been the extent of the Reds offense up till now.
And Rob Bell pitched well, John. I mean, his defense betrayed him a little bit, but he actually pitched well.
Wow, that was a close one. A little bit low, I guess. 2-0 the count to Pokey Reese. Reds would like for him to get on base somehow. Pokey's a guy who can make things happen if he gets on. And tonight he's been going big fly, but that's not really his game. Pop foul right back toward us and just down below. 42,903, the official paid crowd tonight. And still several in the original crowd here, but he's got late. We've had the rain delay, and it's been a real miserable night to be outdoors, really. They came prepared, though. Back to the screen. Steckschulte to try to get the 92-mile-an-hour heater by him. Steckschulte went to Ashland University in Ohio. He played ball there. He was an academic All-American. There's Danny Graves, the Reds' closer, ordinarily. Also, the St. Louis bullpen is busy. There is Steve Klein, the left-hander, warming up. Reds have some lefties available on the bench that Bob Boone could be going to, but La Russa is well armed to counteract any moves like that. And this Cardinal bullpen really has turned the game around for them. 4 1/3 shutout innings from the Cardinals bullpen, starting with Mike James and Alan Bennis, Mike Timlin, now Steckschulte. And he blew that one right by Pokey Reed. Strike 3, 2 down.
And you're right, John. Everyone that's come out of the bullpen has been throwing the ball well. So the Cardinals, and with 2 strikes, you can see Pokey late on the fastball.
Now they're going to send up a pinch hitter. Bill Selby is going to pinch hit for Donnie Sadler. Bob Boone looking on. He got 4 left-handed pinch hitters available on his bench, including Michael Tucker, who is a real threat at any time. Also, Deion Sanders is still available. But Deion has not done much hitting since that highly publicized initial game back in the big leagues when he had 3 hits. 2 down, nobody on. Here's Selby. That is called strike 1. La Russa, meanwhile, with Boone having all those lefties on his bench, La Russa still has Christensen and Klein, 2 left-handers left in his bullpen to use. Selby called up from the minor leagues back on May the 19th, a couple of weeks ago. He had, against the Cardinals in Cincinnati last Sunday, had a 3-hit game. Started the year at Louisville, hit .252 there. And that's a foul ball up the first base side, picked up by Bill Doran. He's still got the good hands. I remember back when was it, Joe Brown? 86, when the Houston Astros had an excellent ball club. Bill Doran was their second baseman. He was one of the best in the league.
Very good player. Smart player, could hit. Played his position well.
Bill Doran. Oh, did he swing? No. Albert Pujols didn't think so. He thought that was his swing. He was already headed off the field. But third base umpire Marty Foster said no swing. So Albert had to go back. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Selby.
Well, we'll take a look from the overhead camera. Down.
In the dirt. It didn't look like a swing for that replay.
No. I was actually looking at the flight of the ball. I thought the pitch was more inside, but it was got a lot of the plate.
2-2 the count. Steckschulte with 2 down, nobody on. And Selby fouls another one away. Selby out of Alabama. He was originally signed by the Boston Red Sox. Went to Southern Mississippi University. Last year he was in 30 games in the big leagues with the Cleveland Indians. Hit .239. Another foul out of play. He got into 40 games with the Red Sox in 1996 and at .274 there. Bill Selby. Four to 3, the Cardinals lead. Cincinnati at one point had a 3-0 lead. drive base hit left field.
Good job there by Selby. Fought off some tough pitches, and then he finally found one he could go the other way with.
Selby with the pinch hit, his first pinch hit of the year. The Reds pinch hitters as a group have been miserable.
Well, the Reds, we mentioned their hitters haven't done that well either. That's a tough pitch. Fastball towards the outside edge, and he just goes the other way with it. You see right on the outside corner. And I guess the reason they used Selby instead of Sadler, who had walked a couple of times, is that Sadler wasn't stealing bases anyway, so you want to go up there with someone that maybe could get you an extra base hit.
Until that base hit by Selby, Reds pinch hitters were hitting 152 as a group. Here is Juan Castro.
Are they up to 160 now?
You want me to figure that out?
No, that's okay.
No, you're good at it.
No, that's okay.
13 for 80.
That's okay.
13 pinch hits and 80 at bats. Come on, just give it a thought. Give it a thought.
163.
Well, that's absolutely correct.
Oh, okay. See?
I was just kidding. I didn't know you really could do it. Pujols over to second. Vigna covering for the force out on Selby, and the inning is over. Jim Edmonds, then Albert Pujols and Ray Langford. Power coming up for the Cardinals. They lead 4-3.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Nextel, is brought to you by your local McDonald's. We'd love to see you smile. And by Sports Center. Which Sports Center do you watch?
I suppose you can make a little bit of a crack at that point, like which Sports Center do you watch? Well, usually I watch the 11 p.m. unless Sunday Night Baseball is still on. Sports Center comes up after the game. Juan Castro moves over to second base from third base, and Bill Selby stays in to play third, and Chris Nichting to Jim Edmonds. Ball one. Edmonds struck out twice, but then in the sixth inning he reached on an error by Donnie Sadler, and that started something. He eventually scored the tying run of the game for the Cardinals. 1 ball, 1 strike. By the way, we've done a little checking.
Well, I just asked my wife, and she doesn't know.
She didn't know where Lima, Ohio is?
She said she didn't. She thought it was farther than we did.
Base hit for Jim Edmonds. Now here is Albert Pujols, who is 0 for 3. After his last at bat, he went in to talk to the hitting coach, Mike Easler. But let's take a look at the pitch, and Easler wearing a microphone.
Well, there was a runner at second base, and there was a changeup. He gets out in front of it and pulls it to shortstop.
You just don't want to just place it over there. You want to drive that ball out of there. With the power you got, you can hit that ball out of center field or a deep fly ball to right center. He can tag up and still, you move the runner. But you don't want to give up your power totally. You still want to try to hit over there. You try to feel for that, and that's what happened. It's all right. Next time, try to drive that ball in the right center.
Well, what he's talking about is there was a runner at second with no one out. And a lot of guys, managers want you to hit the ball to the right side to move the runner up. And that's what Pujols was trying to do, but it was a changeup, so he pulled it. And what Easler is saying is don't try to do that. Drive it to right field. Don't just push it over there.
Pujols, fastball to the inside from Nichting. 0-2 the count. Pujols has flied to left, struck out, and grounded out to short. One of the great-looking rookies to come along in a long while. And Tony La Russa, he knows a good one when he sees one. La Russa, in one 6-year period back in the 1980s, managed the Rookie of the Year 5 years out of 6. He had 2 with the White Sox and 3 more with the Athletics. With Oakland, he had Jose Canseco, Mark McGwire, and Walt Weiss in 3 consecutive years. His first Rookie of the Year that he ever managed, you would never get this, because you were still playing and you weren't interested at that time. Ron Kittle was a rookie.
Yeah, I remember
the White
Ron.
Sox.
Yeah, big outfielder, could hit some big flies too.
Kittle hit a lot of them.
Yeah.
And Pujols with more RBIs through his first 54 games than McGwire had in his great rookie year. McGwire set an all-time rookie record, which still exists, for home runs He hit 49 home runs as a rookie in 1987.
And that's something that may never be broken. 49 home runs as a rookie. Frank Robinson, of course, with the Reds, hit 38 his rookie season.
Back to the screen. Wally Berger set the rookie record with the Braves in 1930, when they were the Boston Braves. Frank Robinson, and really a memorable Cincinnati team, 1956.
Right. Was a great team.
They hit 221 homers that year. Really a great slugging club.
2 guys from Oakland on that team, Frank Robinson and Vada Pinson. J.W. Porter, I think, was on that ball club, too, and he was from the Bay Area.
They tied what was then the all-time home run record for a team. 56 Reds. That's foul.
Not sure if Jess Gonder was on that team. He was from Oakland as well. The Reds player, all of them.
Well, we're in St. Louis tonight.
Yeah, but you were playing the Reds. It's the Reds playing.
I know you're about Oakland. This is the Reds.
Yeah, but they all were from Oakland. Oakland had a pipeline to the Reds in those days.
That's a good point. 2-2 the count to Pujols. Right center field. And over from right field is Ochoa. So Pujols retired.
That's the second time, John. The first time up, and this time he kind of jammed himself on the pitch. He didn't get the barrel of the bat out there. And this is the same thing that happened in the first inning. That ball is in the middle of the plate, but he jammed himself.
Mike Easler wearing a microphone.
Oh, just missed him. Just didn't get the bat head there.
That's what I said, Mike. Didn't get the barrel out there, and that's exactly right. He just didn't quite get it there. And it could be because they'd thrown him so many off-speed pitches that he wasn't quite prepared for the fastball.
It is what you just had said.
Yeah, and I agree with Mike.
Although you did not add. Because you had just said it, so Mike was agreeing with you.
Yeah, all right. Well, we agree on that.
Here's Ray Langford. He's 0 for 3. He's grounded out, twice struck out in the game. Fastball off the outside. And you get a good look at just where it was from our dead center camera. There's Dave Veers, the Cardinals closer, heating up for the 9th inning. It looks like he'll have something to close. 4-3. The Cardinals are leading. Tony La Russa, Dave Duncan talking it over. High in the air down the left field line, a twisting foul and back out of play. Well, you were talking about Oakland. I was kidding around. You know, everything with me, Joe, it's all a joke. You give me like a cold night and a rain delay.
Yes.
You know, and it's all just a joke to me.
You're right.
But, I mean, there was a time when I think there were more players and top players, I mean star players in the big leagues out of Oakland than maybe any other city.
Exactly. Top players. Kurt Flood was there. Willie Stargell.
2-1 the count. Oh, nice pitch. A slider down and in. 2-2.
Oh, wait a minute. What about Lima, Ohio? I know it's near Cincinnati.
Well, I didn't want to show you up on the air. I mean, you know.
But that's all right. I told you. I used to drive up there.
It's almost a 2-hour drive.
Well, that's what I say. That's near Cincinnati. It's not that far. People used to drive down to see. Guys drove down there all the time to see the Big Red Machine.
Almost a 2-hour drive.
Well, it depends on how fast you're driving.
That's if you're speeding.
Well, it depends on how fast you're driving. I don't think it's that far. There wasn't far to come see a Reds game.
I got from Denver to St. Louis faster than that.
But you're on a plane. Hey, people come from miles around to come to a Cardinals game. They drive for 3 and 4 hours.
Well, these are regional franchises.
Right. The Reds.
Yeah. Regional franchise.
Yes.
2-2 the count to Ray Langford. Did he swing? No. Third base umpire Marty Foster.
In fact, I mean, they listen to Marty Brenneman and Joe Nuxall on from Lima on 1150 a.m.
Really? Three and 2 the count to Ray Langford. Marty Brenneman and Joe Nuxall, the longtime partners broadcasting Reds baseball. There goes the runner. Strike 3. Oh, man, he's out by plenty. Jim Edmonds out by about from Cincinnati to Lima. So Langford strikes that into a double play. Now, last chance for the Reds. They are trailing 4-3 going to the 9th. The Yankees and the Braves. Greg Maddux and Chipper Jones, Chuck Knobloch, El Duque. The teams of the 90s, the Yankees and the Braves. Interleague action next Sunday night. We'll be there 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific from Yankee Stadium. We hope you'll join us. And it should be Mike Messina due up for the Yankees. And Messina, who got the best of Pedro Martinez about 9 days ago at Yankee Stadium. And he could be matched up with Greg Maddux. It's our next Sunday night telecast from the big ballpark in the Bronx. Now, Deion Sanders had come out. To act as a pinch hitter with Steckschulte on the mound. Now, Deion, having been introduced into the game to pinch hit for Nichting, and Klein, the left-hander, is going to get the call from the bullpen. So we got a pitching change before the inning ever starts, and we'll be right back. There's the former Montreal Expo left-hander Steve Klein, acquired in a real big trade. It's worked out very well for the Cardinals so far. When Klein comes on, Deion Sanders had been introduced as a pinch hitter for Chris Nichting, and now the left-hander comes on, and so Deion, a left-handed batter, goes back to the dugout, and Kelly Stinnett will bat against Klein. You see Klein's numbers. He's done a great job for the Cardinals. 24 in the third innings, only 17 hits allowed. Now, Joe, the trade, of course, was Fernando Tatis and Britt Reams going to Montreal, and the Cardinals got this guy, Steve Klein, a real fine left-handed reliever, and starting pitcher Dustin Hermanson. And the reason that they felt they could make that trade was because all of the great reports that they'd been getting from the minor leagues on Albert Pujols. The idea was that Pujols could be ready sometime as early as late this season, but certainly the year after this. Even the people who were issuing the glowing reports on Pujols didn't imagine that he'd be starting this season in the big leagues. But that was why they felt they could make this deal to solidify their pitching staff, and it really has. Plus, Pujols has done a fabulous job at third base anyway. Here's Kelly Stinnett. He's got a little power. Placido Polanco also came in the game as part of a double switch. He is now playing third base in place of Pujols. Polanco will go in the 9th spot on the order, and Klein will hit in the 5th position. There is Polanco, so he would be due up third if the Cardinals had to bat in the last of this inning. We're in the 9th, 4-3 St. Louis, and Klein has fallen behind Stinnett 2-0. Stinnett in 95 at bats has 3 homers and 4 doubles. That is a fair ball. Got it over the head of Polanco. The carom, and now
and he stopped.
Stinnett stopped and gets only a single, although that carom caused Langford to go 2 different ways.
Well, it's a 2-0 fastball, and he rips it, and you can see Polanco moves a little late, but it's ripped past him, and the ball hits off of that little railing down there. And by the time they retrieve it, he's at first base, but he stayed there.
So now Dave Veers, who is the regular closer for the Cardinals, he will come on with Alex Ochoa coming up. Nobody out. Sunday Night Baseball still going from St. Louis. The Cardinals 4, the Reds 3 in the top of the 9th inning. Meanwhile, on Wednesday Night Baseball, 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN, the slugging Cleveland Indians and the red-hot Minnesota Twins are the top 2 teams in the American League Central. Some of you will see the Yankees and the Orioles on ESPN2 at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. The Los Angeles Dodgers take on the Arizona Diamondbacks in the desert, and Curt Schilling is due up looking for his 10th win. Some of you will see the Padres and the Giants from Pacific Bellpark in San Francisco and the red-hot Barry Bonds. And as Dave Veers comes on, he is the 7th Cardinals pitcher of this game. The only non-starting pitcher still available in La Russa's bullpen is the left-hander Christensen. He's used everybody else tonight, and they have all done well. In relief of Mike Matthews, the bullpen 5+ innings, no runs, and 3 hits allowed.
Well, Veers, you can see, he's averaging more than a strikeout per inning.
And he throws a lot of split finger pitches, doesn't he?
Yes, and he has 7 saves.
So here's Veers, 7 saves. He had a circulatory problem that affected the index finger in his throwing hand, caused him to miss more than a week of the season. And then when he came back, they didn't know that he would be sharp enough to immediately take over his closing duties. So the saves, it's not a real high total of saves for the closer. He had 29 saves for the Cardinals last year, and really filled a hole for them on a team that won the division. Alex Ochoa, the hitter. Stinnett at first, nobody out. A strike called on the outside. Sports Center will follow the game. Stay tuned for that. Tony La Russa. He is cutting and pasting the bullpen along in this one after starting pitcher Mike Matthews was knocked out during a 3-run 4th inning that included a 44-minute rain delay. And that will go back to the screen, and the possible tying run of the game moves over to second base.
And it looked like that was a splitter that got away from him.
So a wild pitch.
Matheny has done a good job of keeping the ball in front of him.
Marrero came on as a pinch runner for Matheny back in the 7th inning, and he scored the run that has the Cardinals leading. But now the Reds have a man at second and nobody out. So Ochoa's got to get him over to third. The Cardinals expecting a bunt. That is a ball. 2-1. So McGuire rushing in from first. The third baseman Polanco trying to stay back if possible. Now the thing on the bunt, Joe, I mean, Stinnett did not have much speed.
No. And, well, he doesn't have to go. If he doesn't make a good bunt, don't run. That's the key to the guy at second base when there's only a runner at second and you're trying to bunt him over. All he has to do is make sure it's a good bunt before he goes.
That's a foul, so no bunt there. He swung away trying to hit one to the right side.
And I actually like that a little better because with Stinnett at second, it's difficult to bunt him to third. You have to make a perfect bunt. And Ochoa is one of their better hitters. And you are on the road.
That was the old bromide in baseball, right? The old book on baseball. Play for the tie at home and play for the win on the road. And the splitter for the strikeout, which is a big weapon for Veers and a much needed weapon for him to use right there. The strikeout, and the runner does not move up at all.
But I think what Boone was thinking was to drop down a bunt is because the Cardinals do not have much left in their bullpen if they can tie it and go into extra innings. But there's a splitter. And you can see that Ochoa way out in front.
By the way, Joe, they do have bullpen activity going. There he is. Christensen. And the Reds are going to use a left-handed pinch hitter now for Jason LaRue. It'll be Michael Tucker. And a pretty tough hitter he is, with Dimitri Young behind him and then Sean Casey. La Russa calling the bullpen.
Well, truthfully, it would surprise me, John, if he does make this move, because if there's a tie ball game and you have to go to extra innings, you would have used your closer and your last guy here in the 9th inning. But, of course, if you can get out of the inning without any runs scored, you don't have to worry about the next inning.
Christensen did work in yesterday's game, but only 2/3 of an inning.
Well, this is why I think you have to go with Veers here to let him try to save it for you.
And usually when a guy is sort of anointed as the closer,
right, you let him close.
He closes no matter what hitters are coming up. And the splitter, Tucker, who's a great fastball hitter. 0-1. Tucker hitting .270, 4 homers, 22 batted in. And he's got a lot of speed, too. You see, he has not faced many lefties this year and is 2 for 22 against them. Against right-handers, he's hitting over 300. Check swing. Hit slowly. Polanco has to hurry. Just in time. Stinnett over to third.
That was a nice play by Polanco. Because first it appeared that he might be hoping that it was going to go foul, but he backhanded it and made an accurate throw. Check swing here by Tucker. He's a little late getting out of the batter's box. Now watch this. See, it looks like now he backhands it, and he fires a strike to first base in time to retire Tucker.
Just did get it. So Polanco with Stinnett now at third base. I mean, Stinnett, when he led off the inning with that base hit, I thought for sure he was going to go for 2, but he stopped at first base. Then there was a wild pitch that got him to second. But the lack of taking that base may be costing the Reds right now. Here's Dimitri Young, still a chance to get the tying run home. Young, a switch hitter. Vigna to his left. He's got it. Plenty of time. The ball game is over, and the Cardinals have won it. And the Cardinal bullpen, 6 scoreless innings. And Veers gets the save. Timlin gets the win. And Rob Bell, the tough luck loser, still winless this year. The Cardinals with a 4-3 win. Big Mac didn't go deep. Fernando Vigna did knock in the winning run. John Miller and Joe Morgan will see you next Sunday. The Braves and the Yankees in New York. SportsCenter next.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.